now we have something that can take some of that energy and turn it into electricity.
Can I ask a quick question? So the people that have solar, whether it's at home or on a commercial building, did they buy it because the government bought it? Because they made it pay for itself? Is there some combination? Like what have you guys learned about talking to people with actual solar installations? How did the money happen for that?
Well, so it looks kind of like so with solar, the expectation is that you'll get your money back eventually. That's what a lot of people are saying. They always mention a payback period.
Not an expectation. Why did they do it?
So it's mostly government incentive. They made it cheap enough where the payback was going to be very fast. And one person that we spoke to said they were paid back within the first year as far as the amount they paid. So we spoke.
So they had government subsidy. So the government paid for a lot of the infrastructure costs up front.
Exactly.
Yeah, especially with the agricultural folks. We need to explore and talk to a solar developer to see exactly, because they didn't know very much about our agricultural grants, but they would bring them up. But we think that they're not the ones that are actually applying for the grants. That's going to be solar companies that are talking to them. So we still need to test that hypothesis.
Can you say that again?
Yeah. So the we don't believe that the agricultural building owners are actually the ones that are applying for these agricultural grants. We believe that the solar installers are actually going to be the people that are talking to them and offering to take advantage of these grants for them. Because when talking to agricultural building owners, they would mention that there are these grants, but then whenever we would ask for any details, they kind of shied away. So our next step is going to be to interview solar developers to see, what.
So yeah, when these customers got their proposals, they already had these grants embedded in them. So it would say the cost of the system would be $5,000. You had all these subsidies already embedded in. So they wouldn't actually be the ones applying for it. It'd be a third party or a solar installer that's actually applying for it.
Okay, so that's a power purchase agreement. We need to follow up.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't necessarily a power purchase agreement, but essentially either National Grid or agricultural incentives would be there for solar companies to take advantage of, and that would, so it's essentially the government putting money into solar. So yeah, power purchase agreement, I guess, would be if there's a third party, different third party that's not the government involved, that you're actually paying your electricity bill to directly. But yeah, so that last value proposition was that it's an added installation benefit. So customers, essentially, I know people mentioned that they did have heat losses, but we need to explore a little bit more into that and see, is that actually a big issue for them? So that didn't bear a whole ton of fruit on the agricultural side, but we need to keep looking into it. But I guess to start off, our initial business on campus was for architecture and engineering firms, and so then being at the farmers market, we found that there may be a business opportunity within agriculture, so we tailored that to this new sort of business model campus. And the first time that we went to the farmers market, we kept talking to a lot of farmers that had livestock, and we found that farmers with livestock had a lot more energy costs when it came to cooling and storage, refrigerator, that sort of thing. And so our initial hypothesis was that, okay, building owners with livestock are a lot more interested in solar because they have these energy costs. And yeah, so that was kind of our initial thoughts.
So the hypotheses that we were testing were that energy use is something that business owners have spent money to reduce. Agricultural businesses owners are concerned about energy usage. Agricultural businesses require large structures with ample wall surface area. And that hypothesis was there because we need large structures in order to generate any usable amount of energy. Agriculture businesses with livestock are those most concerned with energy usage, and agriculture businesses have access to special grants allowing them to reduce the cost of photovoltaic systems.
Can you guys go back very good hypothesis. This is some of the
these are good.
best that I've seen.
Yep.
Easy to test, you can even quantify, and half of the ones that are up there. So good job.
And they're not, they're not, none of them are obvious, you know, even the first one, energy use is something that agricultural business owners have spent money to reduce. Instead of, hey, do you want to reduce your energy costs? That's like, do you want to cure for cancer? Sure, who doesn't? No, I don't want to reduce my energy costs. But that, the way you said that is way better.
Way better. Good job.
So two interviews that stood out were the first farmer that we spoke to that had livestock, or I guess it really was the second one, but it was one that really turned us on to high energy usage with livestock, was a livestock farmer at the Troy Farmers Market the first day. So speaking to him, the whole process was, obviously you take care of these animals. In the winter you had all these heating costs trying to keep everything warm. After you sent them out to the USDA to get slaughtered, you actually had to store them, freeze them, so they had heating, they had cooling costs. And on top of that, if they were running if they were creating any type of feed, growing anything, they had pumps that they'd have to run, they'd have irrigation. So there's quite a bit of energy usage that they had. This specific farmer also already had a solar system on his residence, and he was in the process of getting a solar system for his farm. So he was the one that kind of got the wheels turning on the livestock idea, and what added that hypothesis. After we went to actually the Saratoga Farmers Market, we spoke to another farmer, and they also had already installed solar. And they were actually in the process of their second solar installation. They had no livestock. All they did was they planted fruits and veggies, but their refrigeration costs were high enough, and the pumps that they used for the irrigation were high enough in energy usage that they needed a relatively large system. I believe it was a 30 kilowatt system that they had already installed. So that turned us back to the idea of, okay, maybe it's not just livestock. This goes back to farmers in general could benefit from solar, and not only could they, but some of them are already taking advantage of this. So going back to what we learned, our initial hypotheses, our first two hypotheses we validated by interviewing 11 agricultural businesses, and actually 4 of 11 had already installed solar. So as far as agricultural businesses requiring large structures with ample wall surface area, we didn't really come to a conclusion on that one because many of them actually had smaller structures, for example, walk-in fridges, and they didn't really need large structures, they just needed something large enough to have that walk-in fridge. As far as agricultural businesses with livestock are the most concerned with energy usage, false. And that goes back to the last slide. We spoke to a larger scale farm that already had a solar system to power all of their pumps, their cooling necessary for their fruits and vegetables. And the agricultural businesses have access to special grants, allowing them to reduce the cost of the systems. And this was true. The government will actually provide incentives, and that was actually the tipping point for most of these businesses to actually go into solar.
When you talk about these grants, you're not talking about the same grants that homeowners
No.
correct? So you're talking about grants that are specific to the agricultural industry.
I mean,
right?
even talking to, we interviewed a couple of coffee roasters, sort of people in the food and beverage industry, and talking to them, I don't think anybody mentioned solar. So I think these agricultural incentives are pretty significant. I mean, 4 out of 11 businesses. I mean, I guess we live in sort of maybe a liberal hub, but that's pretty dramatic for solar.
So conclusions were the incentives were a primary reason for many of the photovoltaic system installations. Owners of the heating and cooling systems were more energy conscious, and agricultural businesses were typically more inclined to install ground mount systems because they had ample space to install. So this also begs the question of whether or not the product that we currently have would be feasible or would make sense for agricultural businesses.
Yeah. Good customer discovery without really, tipping your hand. Hey, no, how about on the sides? Put it on the sides, so this was good general customer discovery, which is That's the best way to learn this stuff. But yeah, that's an interesting dilemma now. Like, so they're fine with putting it on the ground, you know, like a typical install. So why would they put it on the side? You know?
Yeah, so that, I guess, we need to look more into, because there is separate grants, so there's solar grants, and then there's also just regular sort of building renovation type grants for specifically agricultural folks, and so we need to see, is there potential for integration there? But
So next, we obviously want to continue to interview these agricultural businesses, find out a little bit more, find out if there is still feasibility for a product, inquire further about the grant process. Again, like Duncan was just saying, see if we can kind of combine building grants and solar grants and make this a product that could potentially make sense for agriculture. Interview the A&E firms to gather information about the other sectors. So right now in our discovery, we mostly focus on the agricultural sector. We still have industrial and commercial. And then, in addition to the big box stores, we want to add agriculture as a list of the sectors to research. And then we have upcoming conferences that we need to come up with a plan of attack as far as who we'd like to talk to and what we'd like to discuss with them and what information we'll get out.
Yeah, you're going to like a architectural siding conference or something, right? Or some like facade conference or something.
yeah, so we were initially planning on heading down to East Florida, right? or Charlotte, North Carolina, but that wasn't so specific, so we're going to be heading to New Paltz because they have a big green building conference there.
Oh.
And then November there's another big green building conference in Boston. So we're going to head there. But so kind of the result of everything, might be kind of hard to see in green, but this is sort of our revised business model canvas here. So you can see we mixed building owners with livestock, but within agriculture, obviously we still need to be mindful of the fact that maybe there's no reason to put some on the walls, to put it on your walls instead of doing a ground mounted system. But it makes sense to talk to solar developers, learn about the grant process, and I guess the kind of most of what's added here is just realizing that there is this dramatic grant component that goes into agriculture.
I'd like to see you guys test to see if one of your value propositions could be doing the grant applications for it. Because if that's a trigger, I mean, it's not going to be, you guys aren't going to get grant money. If the end user will. But if you do the support for it, that's a trigger. So that could be that's a reason for them to pay you money.
Right.
So I would say that's one of your could be a central value proposition.
Okay.
But but you had an example, I think, of two people that did the install that did the solar stuff, but it looked like they did the grants themselves. I don't know.
I'm not sure about that honestly. Whether that was all independent.
Okay.
It seems like people didn't know a whole lot, so maybe it was a long time ago, or maybe
Yeah, so one of the ones we talked to in Saratoga, they were actually going through one individual guy who was pretty much setting up the whole system, helping them through this process. So we don't know whether or not he was actually part of a solar installation company or a third party that was doing exactly what we're saying.
Gotcha.
We need to see how he plays.
Yeah, and I have a name too. But yeah, that was everything.
So why the legislative liaison?
So if we are going to want to do this kind of thing, we're going to want to also probably recognize a lobbying component, and I think that's pretty big for solar, especially for a new solar product. Is considering we'll need to be continually active within kind of the political world to have some influence there as well, because that's constantly fluctuating, throughout the country.
So is it a federal or a state?
I guess I would think state, but at the same time, there's this thing called the ITC tax credit. So that's a federal tax credit, which is like a 30% write-off essentially for solar. That's huge. That's kind of what makes solar relevant right now. And so that would be federal, and that's also, I know, Solar City and kind of their solar shingles. They had trouble getting ITC approval because for a while it was just viewed as a home improvement. So we would need to speak with people there to make sure that we can qualify as a solar option and not just a home improvement. But then also at the state level, we would need to communicate because I guess one of our benefits is uniform energy production. And so we would need to communicate with, I guess not exactly sure who, but with legislators to make sure that our benefit there is recognized financially.
Okay, so I think there's two lobbying organizations, because you have to register as a lobbyist at the federal and the state level. Can't be the same person. And you're going with two different business models to them, so you probably need two people there. I would put it as a key activity.
Okay.
Just because of the way you answered it.
Yep. Okay.
Because you're solving, what you're doing is solving a customer problem and making that, the value of solving that problem something you can charge for.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're using a lobbyist to solve it before it is a problem.
Yeah.
I got a question, comment. One is when you're surveying these folks, you started this already, but as you go into industrial, commercial surveys, the question is the industry facing or the stock facing an important factor in optimizing the question of your
Yeah, definitely.
and then you are going to add to market and getting resistance around, well, they'll just pick up land and put the farm out in farm, solar farm in farm. Having some numbers that there has to be what's the opportunity cost for us, if they're not farming that field, or they're not renting that field out, so the option could farm. Because they've got vertical surface that they can take advantage of, and it does play with, they may not have thought that step out.
Okay, yeah. We have a lot of these folks with numbers, so we should probably just call some people back. I think in a farmer's market setting, it was sometimes hard to get to kind of have a conversation and lead the conversation specific enough, but we can call back on those infos and we can get back to that. Next.
Okay. I think we're about out of time.
You can catch up after. No, that's fine. That's fine. It has gone well, so I'll catch up. I was wondering too, Marty, if you had some other suggestions along the lines of things in addition, potentially, or maybe even preceding lobbying that they can be connected with to get more information on some of this stuff.
On which side?
On some of the key partner stuff, next steps.
Oh, yeah, no, we've talked about the service, getting our loans, and there's a number of ways.
Yeah.
These guys can go. I want to see, I'd like to see more names on
Right. One point of clarification, real quick. National Grid you mentioned, but didn't come back to. I don't see it on here anywhere. National Grid is not the part of the state government. Just to clarify, their
Oh, yeah, no, yeah.
They have an economic development arm that does support some of this kind of stuff. If you look, 2 weeks ago, there was an article in the paper about a grant that King's Dairy Farm, I don't know exactly where they are, somewhere in the area, got funding from National Grid.
Okay.
So there are people that are right here in the area that you can connect to with, in fact, a couple of them are even on the
Yeah, that'd be great. I guess, I do want to talk to you after because I don't know why the utility would want to do that. I don't understand their incentive for putting money into solar. But,
There's certain things they are sort of required.
They have to.
They have to.
Okay, so
The
they
Public
did.
Service Commission, the PSC will make them. If you're a utility in New York State, you have to do a certain amount of this, but only a certain amount, and they do the environmental.
From your point of view, it's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll give you guys a number two. I know a dude who's an energy lobbyist.
No.
Have they talked to Nick? Have they talked to Nick Vigiani?
No,
That might, on the key activities part, Nick might be a good one.
I was thinking Mike kicked it.
Thanks, guys.
I don't know whether he'd cough it up, but Nick definitely would.
There you go. Now, questions.
So I'm Josh. I'm Zomba.
More excited, more excited.
Okay. I'm Josh and I'm Zomba. Brian couldn't make it here today because he was sick, but I'll try my best to make it through by myself. So our current value proposition for end users is that we want to make something more accessible and visible based off of user data points to kind of make it more personable for them and find things that they want. And for businesses, we're moving more towards data analytics. So we want to offer data and like kind of analyze it for them so we can offer better products and services based off the trends that we find from users. And our team members are Carl Apple, Mike Hoffman, me, Brian couldn't make it, and Anthony DeBonis is one of our advisors. He's from Troy Web. Carl's going to be our IT specialist. Mike Hoffman's going to be doing a lot of the legal stuff at the work. And me and Brian are heading up the National Science Foundation. That's how it is, but it didn't work out too well. So this is Brian, this is Anthony, that's Mike, and that's Carl. So this is our initial value business model canvas. We kind of made a mistake here. We thought that college students would be one of our customers, and they weren't. And we
How did
kinda
you,
really
can I ask you, so how did you find that out, that college students aren't your target?
They're not paying us. Business owners.
Gotcha.
That we like spent a lot of time like trying to break down the canvas as if they were our customers when they were end users.
So they're a user, but the business owners are the customer.
Right. So, and we kind of didn't go in enough on key partnerships. We kind of just thought that users, we got to like focus in on them, and then we figured out what they wanted, everything else would come. And that was a big mistake we made. We started off with a scavenger hunt photo app, which we thought that if we can kind of make people go to these different places and earn achievements, that'd be enough for them. And then we get enough data to sell to businesses, and businesses want to be involved in certain scavenger hunts. And it didn't really resonate once we started talking to people. We talked to customers, some microbreweries and end users. And when we were talking to end users, we found out about how they use Snapchat, Instagram, and different photo services. And we found that taking the photo and sharing the photo were much more important than saving the photo, which was a big thing because a big part of our app is we wanted to archive the different experiences in the city in our app and store all those photos. But now we're finding storing may not be the most important, so we want to find innovative ways to kind of share the photos without putting a lot of effort into saving it. And we also found that Snapchat, a lot of people said Snapchat, it's kind of people snap there, take a little video of what they're doing, little stupid things. Instagram might be more formal photos, the things they want to share with their family. So this was the initial canvas, and then these are the changes that we made. Oh, the big thing was the key activities. We're talking with Carl, who's our IT guy, about maybe how to develop the algorithm. Because we're going to start off creating like custom experiences, so we'll have like maybe 30 experiences available that might appeal to people, and we'll do a lot of the manual work ourselves. But we initially want to end up having an algorithm which can figure out based off of the photos and locations different data about a user, and then create custom experiences through that data. So like your experience that they offer you might be different than the one they offer your friend, and they're totally customizable and speed done instantly.
Can I ask a question for
Yeah.
everyone? Does that customer segment really say businesses all types?
Yeah, because we haven't narrowed it down enough.
How are you going to test that?
I have no idea who taught you this stuff, but you cannot.
That shouldn't be in there. I'm sorry.
I know.
Let's do a role play. Ring. Hello, business. Will you buy this? What? Can't just call a business. What does that mean?
That is the biggest cop out.
I really. No, I'll correct that. That really shouldn't be in there. I mean, we're focusing on microbreweries and like bars and restaurants. And I guess when we're doing communicate well enough,
Your teacher should be fired.
But find out, like, get a name. Like, figure out how. Okay, you got a business down the hill. How do they make these decisions? Who makes these decisions about really getting at marketing and getting more foot traffic through the door? That's the value proposition. So who's going to pay you to get more foot traffic through the door? It's not the bartender, the waitress. Like, okay, who is it? The owner, maybe? Who makes the decisions with respect to marketing, money, and stuff like that?
yeah.
Like, give me something you're starting with. Is it restaurants in,
Right, we're starting
in a
with.
city population greater than, well, like, give me something.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
It's tough love, man.
Yeah. All right. So we found initially we thought Instagram might be the most popular photo sharing app, but then once we looked more into it, we realized that Snapchat probably has a lot more photos shared each day, and we realized that people they care less about like the quality of the photo, they know it's temporary. And like I said before, taking and sharing is more important. So we have to focus on creating a shareable experience rather than figuring out the most innovative way to archive the experience. Like we were saying before with the photo books and different zone books, that might not be really important if they care more about sharing and taking the photo. And we found out a lot about Snapchat, Instagram, and we want to kind of think about what direction we want to go to since those are the most successful companies doing that. And we kind of want to be different than Snapchat, but we kind of feel like temporary is the route to go, and it has a lot more use. So I feel like the app's being used more throughout the day. There's more data we can learn.
Did you just say we want to be
We want to be
different than Snapchat and all that other stuff?
right.
Is that a hypothesis or did customers tell you?
Well, I mean, we don't want to copy Snapchat.
No, you gotta listen to the customers and what they're telling you. It's like I got on these guys for the same thing. It's not what you think it is. What you think it is the hypothesis. So this is not what I learned. Unless a customer told you. Right? So where it says Snapchat is more for photo sharing and Instagram is more of an open photo sharing where users want. Did people actually tell you that?
Yeah. Okay. We usually ask them like, what do you use Snapchat for, and what do you use Instagram for, and that's kind of the general consensus with them.
Now I get it. Sorry about that.
So what's next? We want to talk to more customers. We initially planned to talk to customers in the New York City area, but we realized we kind of weren't as far along as we thought we were. Like I thought we knew a lot more than we did. And talking to people in the Albany area, we realized there's a lot to be learned from them still. So it may not be the best use of resources to travel to customer discovery in New York. But what we want to use this program for, besides customer discovery, is to go to some conferences. We think that might be the best to travel and talk to like data experts and app experts and monetization people that have experience doing that. So there's some in New York City we're looking at going to, and we think that we get a lot of customer interviews done at those, as well as while we're learning even more about end users there, I think some customer interviews there too. And we want to also kind of get a rough idea of what we want from MVP as we rush through the program. Any questions?
So because I'm a sort of caveman about this kind of stuff, don't really understand it. So suppose IgniteU is one of your businesses and they want to promote stuff. So would I come into this sort of zone and then see a bunch of like IgniteU Snapchatty type photos, like volatile photos that don't last? When I go out of the building, oh shoot, I can't even see those photos anymore. Is that sort of the concept?
Yeah, I'll explain the concept, how it would be used in a typical day. So say you are a user on it. You wake up, you're like, what do I want to do today? You can go on there and see different experiences available. Maybe in Troy, there'll be an entrepreneur experience with like a different cafe you can go to, a hangout spot, and different things you can do throughout the day. So you might want to come to IgniteU for part of that. And then you may take a photo or a video and share it, but it can only be seen for people that are in this location. And you can set an expiration date, so there might be 3, 5, or 7-day expiration date on that. So if one of your friends that does similar things comes to IgniteU, it's like, oh, this is what Clinton was doing, or he was doing this, or that's so funny. And it kind of be fun to use in that sense. And also we collect data on that, so we look at patterns of where you're going, and then how it influences where your friends go. And that's a lot of tech stuff.
So is the goal then to get more people to go to the location, or people that go to the location can share stuff?
Well, it's two different things, because the businesses want data and they want foot traffic, and the users don't really care much about data. So we're trying to find a way to create value for the user to use. So that's kind of a different experience, and it will create value rather than just like coming here, take a photo. Like there's not much of an incentive, but if it's, you know, you want to go to a bar and see the stupid stuff your friend did last week, that might be a little more fun.
Why do businesses want data? I want to challenge that statement.
Because in some places it's very competitive. Like by NYU, all those bars are constantly competing, and you want to find out what's cool, what's trendy. I'm sure that happens around the area too. That's a hypothesis. But we want to, if they maybe subscribe to our data analytics, they might pick up on those trends a lot faster than what's currently available.
So do they want information, or do they want data?
Well, the data analytics, we'd be turning data into information for them.
That's good.
I like the idea. I was thinking about how I often get frustrated looking at reviews for places, and I'm tired of, you know, not really knowing, okay, this person says one thing, this person says another. So I really like the idea of being able to put something like this building and let's see easily, like just consume content with images and maybe short videos or something like that about what people have done here. And my question was about the experiences thing that you said. What do you mean by experiences?
Maybe different experiences for the user.
Yeah, I might have misinterpreted it. Were you saying something, you said you wanted to start with 30 experiences or something?
Oh yeah, I didn't explain that well enough. So, say Troy, like there's different experiences for everybody. So you might want to try out all the different cafes, or you might want to go to all the startup spots, or see all the Uncle Sam stuff. We'd like break those down into different categories. So like if you're in the Uncle Sam category, they'll tell you all the different spots you can go to. You can go interact with those different locations via photo or video and see what your friends did there. So like we're gonna break off like every different category. We're gonna group different categories of businesses together by what experience it might fit best into.
It's like a museum would be a learning experience.
Yeah, like a learning museum. And eventually we want to make that so it's automatic. So like you'll know Clint well enough to figure out what type of stuff he likes and what he'd like grouped together.
Okay. Was one of the original services that you provided was to help restaurants and businesses keep the energy going with their social media, so almost crowdsourcing on social media? Is that still in play, or is that a side effect?
It'd be different. I mean, I think with I was explaining to Clint before, when people are coming in there and viewing all the experiences their friend had the previous week, that might actually be more, it's not typically how social media is done now, but it might even be more interactive. Whereas like if people want to see what their friends did at your bar, they have to actually go there and view the videos in that geolocation. So we'll be getting foot traffic there, and also there'll be a social media component to it as well. But we have to look more into this. We have to talk to a lot more people.
It might be more of a hub, maybe a teaser video or something.
Now you got to set it to
5 seconds, and then just the rest again.
All right. Good job. All righty. Mr. Livingston, you ready? I just tried to open that way and it got all messed up. Unless I do. Nah, screw it. This?
Yeah. And then just double click. No, hit the drop down.
Hit blue?
We lost it. Thanks. That's it. This one. Yes. Here we go. Yes. All right, let her
All
rip.
right, so at this point, I have 23 total interviews, but the original 15 were shorter interviews where people weren't really willing to take a lot of time with me. It was more going up to strangers and asking them if I could ask them a couple questions. And that put my questions in perspective and helped me understand that that's probably not going to be an effective way to do it, because I'm just going to get maybe 1 or 2 questions answered, maybe something like, what type of lip balm are you using and why do you like it? And I needed context to understand where they got that lip balm in the first place, and have they tried other products in the past and all that sort of thing. So recently I've had some really solid, long, like 10-minute or longer interviews with people who are willing to spend time with me. So those have been a recent big influence on my perspective on the product. And in terms of my value proposition, this and the business model canvas in general is something that I have been struggling with, because I don't really know much about what this would look like in reality in terms of how am I supposed to manufacture this, how am I supposed to get it to consumers. And I also recently met with my mentor on Wednesday, so that was a really great experience because he, gave me a lot of structure in terms of telling me what I need to be doing next. But that is my value proposition as it stands now. So this is what my initial business model canvas looks like. So there's a lot of things on here that I have been rethinking. So I'll cite a few things that I'm rethinking now. For example, the website design, I was thinking that it's very important to this product that the brand is communicated to consumers, and one way to do that is to make the distribution exclusive, so they can only get it through the website, and so they have to sort of go through the marketing materials on the website in order to purchase the product, and they get introduced to the company. I was talking to my mentor further about that, and he was saying that may not be the best idea, and it might be too cost intensive. It might, it might make the product unprofitable to try and develop a shipping operation for it. So that's something that I've been rethinking. What else is, I think, important?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So where did you get the keep the product available through the website? Is that a hypothesis you had?
The product through the website, I would say that wasn't a hypothesis, that was just sort of like a business idea. That wasn't something that I've been testing, whether consumers would want to purchase it.
No, but it's still a hypothesis, so it's something that you could test.
Oh, like if I could test a consumer would be willing to buy it?
Yeah, through a website. Yeah. So how would you test? Just as an example. So I'm just doing this just because you just said to us 2 minutes ago, I don't understand how this works. So how would you test if the product available through the website would work?
If my potential consumers would be willing to buy through the website?
Yes. How would you test
I
that?
guess I would ask questions about where they purchased their lip balm.
Perfect. Yep.
So,
And how they got introduced to that brand. Because you're going to be a new brand, so ask them, like, how did you get introduced? You're going to get guys like Clint and I that are going to say, it's whatever came in our stocking at Christmas time, right? Whatever, it didn't matter, the brand agnostic. But you are going to find that there's a persona, there's a customer archetype that buys a certain way, and that's what you need to discover. Does that help to, like, as you're saying, I don't understand how some of this stuff works?
yeah, I guess maybe I was confused in terms of the business model canvas. If this is, like, that was something, I was thinking, okay, what would my business look like in reality? And I didn't know any of the logistical realities behind like operating a website and shipping the product to customers.
Okay. example.
Yeah.
So the point of doing all this is that doesn't matter. You have to suspend reality for a second. And what you have to do is find out how a purchaser wants to buy it. The most important thing is to understand that process. And then if you can deliver like that, then you have what's called product market fit. And if you can't, you probably should stop. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
So suspend reality. No, it's hard to say. I'm an engineer. I have the same disease that you guys have. You have to suspend solving the problem for a second and listen to how they want to complete the transaction. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So these were two pillars of my product idea. The first was that lip balm for many consumers is maybe primarily something like a fashion statement or something that they enjoy using because the products are all the same. This is what I thought. And I thought that it was essential to emphasize the all natural status because that would be one of the driving factors behind why customers are purchasing lip balm. So 4 major hypotheses for me. One was that I assumed that it should have the socioeconomic status qualifier there, but I meant middle income or high income, high school and college age young women do not care about the price of their lip balm, so I thought they would just go to the store and then see what product they liked, and maybe there'd be a $1 difference between them, and it wouldn't matter at all to them. I thought that at this point, lip balm was pretty much the same. It's such a simple product, and I thought that it has such a simple function that, you know, there really can be no difference in performance between the different products. And so it was important to me to find out about Burt's Bees customers because I felt like this is the type of consumers who are buying Burt's Bees are the type of consumers who would be buying my product. So I wanted to understand more about them, and I assumed that they're buying Burt's Bees primarily because of that organic healthy factor or natural ingredients that are for your standard. And also, I didn't know how customers receive lip balm, and I started thinking about whether this product might be something that fits in around like if this would be a product to be by the registers in stores during holidays, for example. So I wanted to know if this was, you know, a gifted product at all. So I chose this interview to discuss because I thought that it was thought-provoking in that it had some contradictions in it, and it also brought up some points of view from consumers that I didn't even think about in the first place. So as you can see from the quotes, they contradict each other a little bit. This young woman, she's a college student, she was talking about how she likes supporting small business, and she was saying, yes, I know that Burt's Bees isn't a small business anymore, but I still like supporting it. And then later on, she told me that she actually tends to steal lip balm, so she's not even buying it from the first place.
I think I know her.
You're not supposed to be
She was crazy.
So that was definitely something that made me step back and think like, okay, what does this actually mean if she's telling me one thing that I think is going to be important to my research, which is that it's important to her, the size of the company and, you know, who they're owned by. And then she's telling me that, you know, she's not buying the product and she still is, you know, like has this feeling like she's supporting them. So that's something that I've been thinking about a while, and it's made me a lot more intrigued about the whole idea of something being small business, because even though I haven't had that many extended interviews, I have had several people voicing strong feelings about who owns their lip balm company.
Did you get a lot of theft of lip balms? I'm not joking.
I got two of the 8 long interviews sent in.
I'm just wondering if you see a lot of that, that could be an opportunity, because you could have a customized look. You know, your wood is exclusive for, you know, every piece is different. So you go, wait a minute, Jenny, you stole my lip balm. Like, if it's just chapstick or EOS or something, it's in the same package. Yeah. Just throwing it out. And then my mind went to a lip balm sterilization kit, so if you find some and you want to seal it, you swipe it with some little.
You're stealing
You
you.
team up with these guys, man. Team up with these guys, get the superbug shit on there. And plan. I don't know, just throwing stuff out.
Thank God this is recorded.
And this was also something that I got from multiple people, which was that they're putting it on before they go to bed, and their lips have built up a dependency. Some people are saying, oh, it's actually an addictive product, and everybody knows that. And I was looking that up a little bit more, and I haven't really found hard evidence of one way or the other. So that's definitely a point of research, whether lip balm is truly addictive on like a physiological level. And then this was interesting because this young lady had the perception of, she had that positive brand perception of EOS, but even though the performance of the product wasn't as good, she chose not to buy it anymore. This is a way that I summed up what I learned, and I was very, very surprised at how highly consumers ranked the effectiveness of their lip balm and the subtle differences that they were describing to me between different lip balm brands. And that was something that I really got to delve into more with these longer interviews, where I could ask them, you know, I could keep asking them questions about what they were saying, and also interesting the way that I didn't seem to find a trend about the specific attribute of the lip balm that consumers like, whereas some consumers wanted it to be thick on the lips and stay on. And like one person said, like, I love this product because I can put it on at night, and then in the morning I wake up and it's still there, so like I know it's worked all night. And so people say like, oh, I hate that like sticky, tacky feeling of it, you know, being on the lips. I wanted to just sort of like moisturize in as soon as possible. So definitely the performance aspect of it, so far, it's by far the most important thing to consumers. They're not saying like, oh, you know, I like the look of this product and I'm buying it because of that. But then again, you know, I don't know what they're, you know, when you ask somebody why they purchase something, they're probably going to say they purchased it for a rational reason, as opposed to like it had a nice color on it.
I think Kelly mentioned one time that in your purse you can feel like the EOS, like it's a round ball type thing. You know?
Yeah, that was something that you know, confirmed by multiple people.
But other people, but that sounds like a reason also to buy in the shape.
Yeah. So these are some updates to my business model canvas. So I now realize that the business model canvas is supposed to be comprised of hypotheses and then change when you debunk the hypothesis. So this was sort of like just different ideas about what I wanted to, about like how I conceived of what should be happening with this product. And I just wanted to bring up this thing that I've been thinking about a lot, which is that there's this conflict between trying to distribute this product as a sort of Christmas time special item, which I thought that might be one potential like way to get it to consumers and have consumers willing to pay extra for it if it's by the register when they're making holiday purchases, and if they're already you know, buying Burt's Bees products for a stocking stuffer, why don't they buy something nicer that like truly seems like a gift rather than, you know, a simply utilitarian Burt's Bees product. But there's this sentiment among the consumers, which is that they seem to want, at least, you know, these college, you know, girls in college, they're probably going to, you know, statistically have a more anti-capitalist sentiment, I would assume, than the wider population, because I do think that there are more, you know, I think it's been established that there are farther left views on college campuses than among the wider population. Anyways, so that's something that I've been thinking about a lot, like being unique and green and small business, and then trying to, you know, partner with a store and saying, you know, can you distribute this for me? That sort of like completely undermines that message. So, and oh, you know, this product is all about brand.
So how am I going to have a singular brand message? Something that I'm thinking about.
What's your background?
My background,
Yes.
I'm a junior studying business at Skidmore College.
Okay. So who do you know that could help you with the brand question?
I have a professor who's teaching a branding class.
Perfect. See if you can find a student that will work with you. I think it's a hard problem to solve. And you're a one-person team right now trying to solve it all. That's an easy part to carve out and ask somebody to help you. That's just a thought. Yeah.
Vision, what to be next. I'm not sure where we stand on the funding questions. So that was one potential.
I think the funding's still coming, right? Or
Yes, that is secure.
It's
oh, it's
secured.
good.
Okay, so that's exciting. So then I guess I will be attending this, which looks like the perfect event. So you can see it, you know, I don't have to read it off, but it's an event where I can really understand what goes into making product. These are just, you know, some small next steps. This is the browsing stores was something that my mentor really stressed. And he really wanted me to treat Saratoga Springs, which is where I'm in college right now, as a microcosm for the wider market, and basically just treat it like, you know, don't worry about like the wider market. Just think of this wealthy city as the market that you want to crack, and you know, go around and gather as much evidence as possible and see if there's anything missing.
You need to interview a bunch of people to do this, start from Saratoga,
Oh, yeah.
The only problem with that is that I'm going to miss it if I attend that in your city. I did see that though.
This is why you need a partner.
Maybe delegate somebody and those questions.
Yeah.
You like, would contain.
That's a good idea to see if I can get somebody on board.
Because you're gonna have 200 people in one room.
And we won't put them out.
I'll try and set something up for that. And then another suggestion from a mentor was he was saying he was wanting me to step back and, you know, say, and also this was something that Clint has suggested, which was, could this product, you know, be, instead of just being sort of a premium product, could it be an ultra premium product? Could it be something that's made out of some special type of wood? Like, could it be, Clint suggested, like, what if it's made from beehives or something like that? Just, you know, anything that is associated with the lip balm itself, but you can still, you know, use to, you know, charge an exorbitant amount.
I'm just hearing you talk too. People bought it for performance reasons. You found that out many times. I wonder if you just have different performance levels, like all day, nighttime, or, you know, and then have a whole product line set up with different sorts of levels that people will gravitate towards or something, all under the same sort of brand, but just different product categories.
Yeah, that's a fun thing for sure. So I don't think that I have on that. Yeah, but that is the end of our presentation.
Awesome.
Who's up next?
All right. Any others?
Did you, I kind of, maybe I missed it, but did you ask people what they felt like about current stuff? I saw some comments about that, but two things that come to mind is everyone I know talks about losing their chapstick all the time. The other thing is I always either wash my chapstick or it melts in the car in the summer.
Oh, yeah.
So if you had one that could maybe go through the dryer or something and it wouldn't destroy your clothes, I don't know, but there's some common problems with chapstick, and I was kind of surprised that other than sticky lips, people didn't say that kind of stuff. Did people say other things like that?
Yeah, so the first 15 interviews I did, which were you know, relatively short, I was asking people, do you have problems with lip balm in general? And I wasn't really getting great answers for it, so I just sort of shifted the question to asking them specifically about the lip balm they use and if they have a problem with it. And then I would and then if they didn't say anything, then I would prompt we've had here for long, but I do need to focus more on the general problems.
So it's all about making it computer magnetic. The plastic's pretty small, and a lot of people lose it on there, a lot of people say. So if you can be like the computer magnetic, I can just stick it to whatever is metal underneath, and I won't lose it.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting idea because I didn't realize how often people have their lip balm out, like, you know, and they use it before they go to sleep every night, and it's like always on their dresser. Or like people have ones that they keep on the dresser at all times, and they have them lip balms when they're going out. So that's an interesting idea for, you know, they have one that they want to keep in a specific place, first with a whole yeah, definitely. I haven't even started thinking about different shapes, but definitely.
What about guys? Have you seen any interesting guys? I would totally interview guys because maybe that's like, you know, 50% of the market where like, I know a lot of guys that never buy cash. I don't think you could get by guys.
I used to go to just, I'm doing this. No, good.
Never borrow chapstick.
Before we get to the next presentations, let's everybody go shout out.
Whoa, before you eat,
Before that,
hello, hello. Before you eat, I think Kelly's getting stuff, but she's on the phone. All right, public request, right? So this weekend, we do not have janitorial service coming in, and we have a two-day workshop starting at 8 a.m. Right? So unless your mother is coming in to clean up after, please try and clean up after yourself. That statement wasn't made for any of the students. That was directed at Clinton. So,
he knows.
yeah,
He
I
knows
watched
how-
the meeting.
He knows how to roll.
Okay, so thank you very much for doing the housekeeping.
That's kind of like, I think the problem, this is a high problem.
Some people.
I mean, right, you put it on. What if you can put it on?
And then a lot of the elements.
Maybe gotta be more
Do it again. Good. How are you? Good, sweet. Friday night. No, Friday night.
Yes. Yes. I cannot believe that they use self didn't try to find stuff ever. And made me sewing. But that rock is deer. It's a what? It's in deer. You just put a big head on it.
Where did the food come from today?
Bootleggers.
Oh, bootleggers.
Hey Bruce, is there a trash can, like a central trash can that we can haul out of here?
Yeah, you know what? I wonder if we could. So I can just take one outside. We can take one outside. Yeah, present it here. Yeah. See if anybody else.
Yeah, that's good. I'm saying I can take the trash.
We could do that. Hallway in the backyard.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Oh, a lot of trash already. Well, there's an alley. We can just chuck it in the alley. All right, guys, we got a central trash depository right here. Okay, so this is where everything should go.
Where the ear goes into the
That's when you gotta.
I'm hoping to now that yeah, so hopefully.
But you gotta.
Oh, okay.
How are you? You're just
Good, I'm Roger Thomas.
It's hot, it's cold, it's amazing. But go to Scooters and fill it up at like 35 PSI. There's a gate. Keep your car running.
Pretty much. No, go ahead.
Do it where you can.
Put it on the little
Hey, my daughter just jumped her car with your battery. Charge it. Get it on her own. Who did? My daughter. I tried to teach my kid how to jump their car and change the tires, but you never know.
good educator.
Battery sticks, so she was jumping the car. All right.
They had a battery.
Oh, you're there.
You go to the Chowder Fest on Sunday?
Oh, yeah.
You like shut
Sunday Chowder Fest. Any questions? Chowder on Sunday? So yeah, that's going on Sunday. So I think it's going to be yeah, usually the Chowder. Sunday.
I was gonna have you sit this time, but I guess he doesn't want to sit next to you today.
Sort of wondering.
He's picky like that when he's
whether
eating.
you were going to come.
He maybe doesn't want to get food on you.
Or maybe it's the other way around.
Could be.
What is it?
Good. We still the main event was yesterday. So we're doing some work with them on I think we have 13 years most of which what do you
Oh, man.
God, why you eat? This is a girl that goes to RPI. She took a year off last year to do a business, and her business is to be a YouTuber making dominoes. So she makes domino arts. She did it for Ford, lots of universities, things like that. So this is her setting up something. She's got 1 million YouTube subscribers that watch her, and like one of her videos had 40 million views. 40 million. So she actually makes money.
How much money does she make?
I don't know. I'll find out. She wants to start a business of making dominoes. Anyway.
I'll let you. People like really like to watch. I mean, 4 million viewers.
I mean,
dominoes falling.
I love those funny cat videos, man. That's my thing. It is pretty crazy. Have you seen some of this? Like setting that up would, it would be so easy to break, like while you're setting it up. I think this took 25 hours, you said?
But so why do
Film thing. TV.
But I think in this case, especially with McDonald's, there's an element where people are waiting to see if they don't fall with a defense somewhere.
One what I've estimated is So do you like
Yeah. So, yeah, no, sorry. Well, I already and then I went to right out of school. Terrible. So funny.
Pretty fabulous.
So, no, so I sold my customers the packaging. So the company.
All right, what else should I do? Should I get another something? Need another quesadilla. This time I'm going without a plate.
So which company?
He's gonna eat it.
Yeah. So Texas Instruments. Fairchild.
With the fork.
But they all the same way.
That's good.
I mean, they don't make it. It's all services. But you see, still keep thinking with their name, but they so most of my those margins they have so we just talk That's that's really an interesting story because that wasn't really where I thought it was going to go. But Southeast Station. My boss was said, he expected all the miles. I can give you a couple of choices. He said, honestly, I'd like to see the commercialization side of it. Because he said, I know by doing it, nothing that would home. So he said, I want you to think about it. And we had this new project we want to start.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody had heard this. So you can learn from some of the No, I wasn't leaving. You know, when you're ready. It was that was kind of the transition. So that's actually a really good question. You go through a lot of different real transitions in that process. First, I was reluctant in that section. So I went to talk about things and trying to understand the rest of my discovery. I was trying to push them what we already had. So making that transition smart, big So a small company. So it went in stages, and
We're gonna start up again. Light on?
It's easy to see the slides with the white background.
So I consciously started. So there's definitely different organizations. It's not so much type of
Let me know, I'll turn, hit the lights so you can see it.
being in a smaller complex. Go ocean to small.
All right, guys, I figured we'd keep the program rolling while you eat, okay? So, we will keep it going. I will turn the lights down a little bit. Please, nobody go to sleep. Just don't let your face fall into your chicken wings.
Don't tap me.
Okay, take it away. All right, my name is Akila. Working on device, so my number for cardiac application. So, team, I'm the lead. Professor Ashish Ghosh is my academic advisor on this. Then I have a collaborator in medical field who's a cardiac surgeon, he's up in Oregon. Also, I have a team member who just started staying on people, but unfortunately, he couldn't make it. And he's DMing, which was great because there's a lot of black metal applications involved. Yeah. So that's going to be helpful. So, main value propositions I have is obviously improve patients' quality of life. Increase the patient's mobility by giving them more circulation and more energy to work with. One of the key things I'm focusing on is like prolonging and potentially, as I mentioned, because that really needs to be tested through clinical trials and long-term results.
to basically prolong or eliminate the need for a heart transplant for these patients. So obviously the longer lifespan because of that. Another important thing is reduce surgical complexity. In putting in a new heart is order of magnitudes more complex than an implant device that would play a partial role. Obviously, because of this, they will be taking reduced maintenance drugs associated with their condition. So cost-wise, it's good, and also health-wise, fewer side effects potentially. And basically cost both the short and long term. So obviously, I have a very low interview count, but that's because it's a highly specialized field, and so I've been trying my best. So I've interviewed 2 physicians, 4 surgeons in cardiac specialty, 2 insurance reviewers that includes one who is also a medical field as a pulmonologist, so he knew both sides well, and then another professional with a review nurse at an insurance company, and then also 1 medical device manufacturer professional, so as an engineer. And I say 6 surrogate patients because the physicians I interviewed also represented a couple of their patients. Obviously, I can't talk directly to patients, so I kind of counted that as like a pseudo interview.
Can I ask questions about the interview count being so low?
Yeah.
Can you just go up and ask people about heart surgery or stents or something, if they had experience with it in their family?
It's not that simple. Because it's a little bit complicated. For one thing, this is a highly specialized condition. So to put that in perspective, like you can't just go on like if I talk to anyone and everyone, I look at the answers I need or the background that I need. So these are like cardiac surgeons that I'm looking for. So I do have some contacts and I'm looking for more of them. And maybe I'll expand to like talking to generic practitioners, per se, not necessarily in this specialty. But that's just a reality. And one of my goals is to actually go to local area hospitals and interview.
So I'm going to challenge, I'm going to call bull on that you can't interview people. I had a team 3-4 years ago that was making a product for bone, to promote bone healing growth. It was specific to cervical spine surgery. They got to over 100 interviews. Okay, so you can't open with, I can't get interviews because I'm highly specialized.
No, I'm not saying that I can't. It's just I haven't been able to in such short notice.
But you can ask what they ended up doing was they just interviewed people in general. Have you had back surgery? Has anybody in your family had back surgery? What were the complications? What were the risks? Was it scary? You follow what I'm saying? You can get to a fair number of people that can tell you, oh, and about, I'm going to say about 3 out of every 5 or 7 that they talked to actually had somebody who had a surgery in their family or circle of friends, and so they could give feedback on what it was like for the recovery process, what the risks were like for the family. So it all has value because they are referencing patients. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. Makes sense.
But if you want, I'll work with you on it, because if I can get them through interviews, I can get you through interviews.
I think you should cover that.
Yeah.
Next, looking at the initial business model, it really hasn't changed. I want to say that. So the canvas is pretty much the same. Sort of somewhere in the middle, I looked to expand potentially, and that was later evaluated. But before going to those deals, essentially, it was to sort of my goal was to expand to like these 3. First was the on-hand patients, who have a specific condition, and then more general cardiac patients who experience lack of blood flow, which is the same problem, but more generic, like LVAD, which is a left ventricle assist device. That's a relatively common cardiac assist device. And then the other one, which is not as common, but in hot development right now, is the total artificial heart, PAH. Those two have market potential that are greater than just 110, just because those cover a broad range of conditions. And so I considered those. And in an effort to create a universal pump that can work for various conditions, essentially, or at least be customized for different conditions, and therefore like a bigger market opportunity. So here are my hypotheses. First, obviously that the solution to content failure is a heart transplant. Verifying that reality. And then the reality of transplants and the challenges that come with it, including the current shortage of supply, obviously expense, the medical risks associated in the long term. And then also the need for a compact, low-risk solution, at least that's partial, can prolong the need for a highly risky heart transplant. And then also that existing devices need a design overhaul and just general performance improvement. This includes LVADs and PAH, which I mentioned earlier. So looking into expanding into those markets, whether that's possible, and obviously the realities of developing such a device, such as the financial benefits and health, from different perspectives, patient, physician, and insurance companies. And obviously all the regulatory challenges that come with it, including FDA and international ISO standards and so on. So rather than highlighting key areas, I just want to go through what I learned, just because these are extremely detailed interviews that I conducted. First up is that the partial assist technology I'm proposing isn't applicable to LVAD and total artificial heart implants. This is primarily because the load applications are far more for those applications. So essentially, you need a lot more blood pressure and higher flow rate. And my design is a partial solution, so its applicability is limited in that sense. Also, in the reality is that those devices are highly competitive. There are lots of companies investing millions and millions into that, so it's very risky. And actually, there have been a lot of failures. Many companies have invested heavily and failed. So to start out, it might be too risky to go into those markets at least. Also, there are a number of FDA challenges, just the sheer ambiguity of it, volume, way it can be interpreted, and the time frame that's required to approve such a device, which is somewhere around 2 to 3 years. Obviously, all the enormous costs from regulatory approval to clinical trials. And this, I sort of got a really wide range estimate from the medical device manufacturer professional that I talked to. Depending on the scale of the company and how established they are, it's anywhere from 5 to 70 million for total development costs. And it ranges widely depending on the device, whether it's implant or not, complexity.
Where do you think the mean is, or the median is, in that cost range? Because that's the cost range is too wide.
Yeah, it's too wide. I would say for an implant device like mine, it's closer to the high range. So I'd probably say like somewhere around at least 40 to 50 I'd say yeah, probably like 50 to 60 would be safe. But if it's highly specialized, then maybe more. But considering mine's a partial solution, it may be, I'm guessing maybe like 50 to 60 is where. And this includes like total development costs, so prototyping, marketing, approval, all those things put together. So my realization, one of the key realizations was that it's better to enter a relatively uncompetitive front-end market, just because there's no solution out there currently. And then look to expand later. So start at least, especially in the medical device industry, it's highly competitive and it's quite costly, and so making a risky mistake would be a big deal. So the recommendation I got was to start small and big.
How much does it cost to do a heart transplant?
A heart transplant is somewhere around $1 million just for the organ itself. And I think that covers part of the surgical procedure. And then I was told like anywhere from 15 to 20K in maintenance drugs every year for that patient.
So lifetime cost of a heart transplant is like 5 million, 4 million, depending on how long they've been, something like that. Maybe not even that much.
Probably a little less than
3.
that. I'd say 2 to 3 maybe.
I mean, you're going to have to do some math at some point because you have less than 2,000 patients for this per year. You're going to spend $70 million developing this thing. The value you bring to the insurance is you don't have this costly heart transplant with the long-term drugs, so it's going to be cheaper. So you got to make it cheaper, but you got to get your money back on a small market, which is only a couple thousand people. And you're not going to do all of them every you're going to capture the whole market. So anyway, you'll have to do some math eventually. It's like the other thing is, so this is a pump and a process, like there's a pump and a method, a surgical method you're developing.
Not the surgical method, a pump that I'm developing.
So you got this Pump Master 3000, a surgeon knows how to use it.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, obviously I have to go through like where it's installed and all the details. But yeah, so it's just a pump that sits within the body. That it's like a external ventricle essentially. So it's like a additional assist device for the heart.
So you're leaving the existing part in place and just decreasing the workload by assisting the pressure moving through.
Yeah, basically increasing the fluid flow, blood flow. So it's very similar to like an LVAD, which is that's kind of what it does, but it's for a different application.
So why are the insurance companies more likely to approve the device? Who told you that?
Wait, sorry.
Why are the insurance companies more likely to approve the device?
To the 2 people I talked to, they said one is cost. Maybe if I can prove that I can either at least prolong the need for a heart transplant for these patients, or even eliminate them. If I can almost eliminate them, then there's a huge case for them to approve it, considering the huge costs for them and also had health benefits of a partial solution, which is low risk. So here's like a bit of data. Apparently, people who go through heart transplants, the mortality rate is 20 to 30%. And it's a highly selective pool, so not everyone's eligible for a heart transplant. So a device like this that eliminates those risks is a huge benefit to.
I can see that. So there's a couple of people at RPI that are very, very knowledgeable in the FDA process and the CMS process. You're going to need to explore. But I think he's on sabbatical this semester. Yeah.
Question over here?
The 2,000 patients, is that in the US or worldwide?
That's in the US. Well, it's also that would be the annual survey market, those are patients that are born every year, so it's actually a little bit less than that. Probably market of like a couple of hundred. Around, so 1,250 patients are born every year with this condition, of which there will only be a fraction of which shoot. So I would say maybe 400 to 500 is like the rough yearly market or annual market. Because these are patients who have already reached their like teenage years. That's usually when this sort of device will apply, not when they're born.
Yeah, I guess to piggyback off Clint's question. So is this like a replacement step in the surgical process? Instead of some current company, instead of your company, you need additional surgical training procedure in order to implement your system? Or that's something yes, that you're using?
Yes, yeah.
Easy to change that.
So this device won't require additional training per se. I mean, obviously, I need to sit down with professionals and look at what the requirements are and what they need to do. But in terms of its current application, there is no new surgical procedure that is needed to install the device. It's using existing sutures and existing surgical grafts to implement the device.
I completely touched, but I have a buddy who actually works for J&J, and his job is to essentially just stand in at surgeries and supervise. I don't know exactly how it works, but some sort of a heart transplant. I could pay you something, and we could learn a little bit about.
Yeah, any contacts any of us have, we should shove them his way. This is a company.
So I have no really biology background at all, but is there a reason why all of these blood pumping devices have to be connected to the heart? Can they be put in another part of the body to assist blood flow even if the heart's beating?
It's a good question. Can you expand on what you mean?
So if you look at VAD or LVAD or all these other heart pumping devices, they actually physically connect to the heart, right? Why? Do you know if there's a reason why that is? What I'm wondering is, there's other main arteries that you could kind of assist the flow with there, away from it. And so what I'm thinking is, if your device can assist directly connected to the heart, would it be possible to use your device in another part of the body as well, expanding your customer?
It's a tricky question. Good point. Actually, I really haven't given much thought to that. But what I'm going to say is, one thing, my device requires that it needs to be close to the heart, just because it's using, at least the planned source is the human diaphragm, actually, our system. And so that's in the thoracic region. So being close enough to the heart is not a problem in this case, even though it's going to be. Secondly, there have been extensive studies, research and so on, and the primary pumping region is the heart, obviously. You could hook it up to somewhere else, but the main pulmonary artery, which goes through the lungs, that is the key target area, because your blood gets oxygenated in the lungs.
Sure.
And so you need maximum flow there. And then everywhere else, it's important, but it's not a target area.
I'm just thinking, like, if you have poor blood flow in your legs or something like that, would it be possible to connect the pump to, major arteries in that region and give an assist down there only, right? And then, take the load off the heart to do that.
From a mechanical standpoint, it sounds good.
It's probably a biology reason. It's probably that's not.
Some biologists, I would say mechanics actually got more and more recognition in cell biology and other areas of physiology. And yeah, if you look at any person with like very cause vein or something, you probably see how it's really hard to put extra strain on things. I would say just mechanical, I don't see how an airport with the land, which is already, the primary target for, additional strain on the way out of particular building.
If God was like a mechanical engineer, we'd have distributed parts.
Yes.
We'd have 50. One blows, doesn't matter.
Redundancy.
Can't use your crank anymore.
Physiology is very complicated.
Yes. Let's quick go through your next steps, and then we'll get on to the next person.
All right, so next, obviously I'm going to focus on the content market. That's my strategy now. I'm looking to conduct as many interviews as possible for people. Hopefully you guys can that's I'm going to continue working on the design itself. So that includes exploring CFD computational fluid dynamics to speed up and reduce the cost for prototyping, and also the concepts and so on. Also, I'd like to conduct interviews with local area hospitals in New York, Pennsylvania, and Massachusetts, with as many surgeons and just medical professionals in general. And then I'm planning, hopefully, get so cool that I can attend the medical device and manufacturing conference.
You're gonna have to go hit a hospital locally or something like that first. Go out, get out there and really start talking to some people. But we'll help you. Matt can help too. So we'll be here to help you get out and talk to people.
Angiodynamics can be out there.
Angiodynamics, what do you think?
Are pretty accessible.
Okay. All right, we got to keep rolling. Thank you, sir.
Did the same day the drop those to the desk?
To the desktop? Yeah, I'll try.
Yeah, I'm asking like what's the best way to submit out on.
Just in the folder.
Oh,
Yeah. All right. Who else we have? You guys? Okay. No. Which one is it?
There's a PDF and
Both?
a PowerPoint.
Oh, it will be PowerPoint. Look at that.
That would.
Even easier. Oh, Google Slide. Why not?
Okay. You might screw it up real bad. We'll see. So hit the drop down on the side.
Oh, okay.
And then open.
One done?
Sure. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Let it rip. Oh. All right, guys. Our next presenters are up.
So we are the Entrepreneurship team, and we have conducted 15 interviews so far. And it's a little small. I didn't expect it to be small, but this was the very first model we made. And you see, our value propositions were delivering efficient electricity, low cost relative to houses and the natural grid for the solar, and supplementing the local grid networks, and not only providing independent systems. We also had a matter of space and provide small rivers or streams, and using pretty much every resource available by nature to create electricity, which our device creates electricity from fluids, which kind of air, wind, and water as well. And we also had to design something to match the housing colors and aesthetics, because from so many of our interviews, people said that solar panels were ugly. So one of the biggest reasons why people did not want solar panels. And then the customer segment that we got from our interviews that we wanted to interview first were farmers, local breweries, small remote homes that have a lot of land around, or hilly areas, and people who wanted renewable energy but considered solar to be expensive and ugly.
So, as Rajiv mentioned, our business opportunity was these people in rural areas with space, as well as breweries or farms that use lots of electricity for refrigeration or brewery. They're looking for a way to cut that cost down. We're willing to bear some sort of upfront cost, and with the idea of having a return on investment afterwards.
Also, we didn't get to pretty much talk to anyone about this because one of the main things we're looking at is government contracts. Because one of the biggest things with wind energy right now is it's a commercial and a government thing. Because wind farms are really, really big, and they usually, one wind turbine can cost somewhere from $3 million to like $5 million. So that's not really a residential application for a wind farm. So we also talked to our mentor, and he said that from GE Wind, they are selling wind turbines to private companies and governments, not here, but outside, because it involves a very complicated process of signing papers, getting all kinds of people involved and diplomats. So that was one of the opportunities that we didn't get to look at yet. So, So,
did you talk to anybody from GE Wind?
Yes, Jesse Carpenter.
What's his role?
He's a logistics expert.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to know.
So what we did was so our hypothesis was that landowners wanted to reduce the amount of electricity, the amount of money they spent on electricity, and were willing to bear an upfront cost for an eventual return on investment. And they also wanted some self-satisfaction of being environmentally conscious. So in our interviews, we asked questions that relates to the ideal return on investment, care for the environment, and getting off the grid. These were the main things that people focused on when they thought of renewable sources of energy. And these are some quotes from our interviews. We had Sugarloaf Cheese. It was a farm that created cheese. And they said they would like to be able to have complete return within 5 to 10 years, and would like it to be mechanically robust with consistent property value. So one thing with something having on your property is how it affects how you sell the property later or how much taxes you get on the property. Because if you're building on something, then you're obviously going to get taxed on that. So one thing that people wanted was, because most of the items that are sold now have a return on investment of about 15 years, 20 years, and some people, most people, can't tell if they're going to be in the same house 15 years from now, 20 years from now. So they wanted a return on investment that would complement their idea of how long they're going to stay in the house. And we also had another one from Professor Nwine, RPI. He said that solar was a nice option for him because it was cheap, but he wanted to wait because he saw that there was a dip in price for wind energy per kilowatt.
So, as you said, we learned that a lot of the consumers were, in fact, willing to do this, that they did want to reduce their energy bill and were willing to bear an upfront cost. But the return on investment was generally, they wanted it within 10 years. This goes back to the mechanically robust, because with the solar panel, unless a tree falls in your house, it's pretty much guaranteed to last for 25, 30 years, manufacturing guarantee. So even if your return on investment with a solar panel is 20 years, you know it's going to last 30, and furthermore, it's going to be there when you sell your house. It will be part of the house value. So even if you don't you end up moving in 10 and you don't recoup your entire investment, you still get something back from when you sell the house. The house doesn't need to be done. With the wind turbines, and especially the new one, people are a little less, they're a little more skeptical about it. A lot of the farmers who have sort of mechanical tendencies see a lot of moving parts and see an opportunity for things to wear out and have to be replaced. So they're not as willing to wait 15, 20 years for it. They want it to be faster, so they can feel more secure and stuff.
So this is our updated canvas. We didn't really focus on partners or most of the resources because we don't really have a lot to work on right now. But one thing we got from the farmers market last Saturday before, was we were talking to some people at a brewery, and this lady approached us and said that she's very interested in helping us research or like be a part of the ecological impact, and she offered us a couple of acres of land so we can conduct some experiments or set up a prototype to get real-time data. So we also from our own testing or customer discovery, we learned that most of the hypotheses that we came up with were right. The rural people wanted clean energy, and one thing we also learned that some people live near waterfalls, which falls right under where we wanted to. So one person said that he would love to have some hydroelectricity, so he was already looking into hydro. And it looks like we have a market, very niche market, but it's very open right now because there's not enough small size or small factor with hydro turbines. So we can also provide that.
So one of the things we want to do next, we want to capitalize on the opportunity that was offered to us, and we want to sometime in the future place a small prototype on this woman's land. Her name's Krista. Not only for the real-time data, but this is something that our mentor Jesse Carpenter spoke a lot about. Is he said logistics, and when he needs to move a $3 million turbine blade, he spends hundreds of thousands of dollars doing it. So something along the lines of if we need to set this up on some of these properties, is it going to cost $50 to borrow a pickup truck to drive it up there, or are we going to have to get a shipping company, or are we going to have to go bigger, or 18-wheeler? Is it going to take huge installation costs to get it in there robustly? These are more questions that we want the answer to, especially because if it's extremely expensive to ship, as Jesse Carpenter's GE Wind is. We might want to change where we manufacture the end product, or have a bubble of, if you're more than a couple hundred miles away from us, you have to pay some more money so we can get up to you. We also want to do some windmill tests, again, just more data. More data means we can have a better selling point with somebody and say, hey, we think this will work, but this is why we think it will work. We're sure it will work.
Hold on, why do you need more data? Tell me why.
We don't have any data that's not from huge relations now. And I don't think that anybody is willing to buy something that they're not sure will work.
What you just said started with I. What does that sound like to me? Starts with the letter H. I don't think there's a hypothesis. So before you spend a nickel on testing, take this from an experienced entrepreneur. Cliff, are you backing up on this one?
Yeah.
Don't build or test a thing until somebody says, or I need this before I need to buy this thing. And then you know you have money on the other side of the transaction. Until then, you're just throwing money out the window. Right? Computer simulation is fun. Make a business case around it, and good to go.
So one more thing that we learned from our mentor was that GE Wind creates very big wind turbines, but that's not where most of the revenue comes from. Most of the revenue comes from maintenance costs, and they have packages. It's almost like a subscription maintenance for the wind turbines, because you need to clean the blades, something breaks, and the companies want outside contractors, but GE Wind pretty much provides maintenance over a couple of years, or you can have extended, but that's where most of the money comes from for the bigger wind turbine. We're not sure how much maintenance it would take to maintain our device yet, but we can we're pretty sure that changing the blades, cleaning the rotors or bearings, changing the bearings. We're also looking at a maintenance package which we can supplement through the device.
We also have a conference deal on the 24th and 25th in New York City.
Questions?
So just on two notes, first regarding the reluctant homeowners, and second one regarding maintenance. I feel like if your maintenance costs appear to be low, you might be able to sell it. That's sort of like, okay, maybe you live in this house in 5 years, but once you're selling it, you'll have this awesome amenity. People are usually quite happy to buy, a house with already installed solar. And, especially if the new owner will not have any sort of barrier of additional investment. If this thing is already chugging along and everything's going fine, you might be able to kind of, turn it upside down for reluctant owners, say that it's an additional value, but who knows?
I didn't see on there, were your other customer interviews, were you able to go to other farmers markets?
No, we focused a little bit more on residential homeowners earlier this.
Okay. Just so you're aware, there's farmers markets at like every kind of major city around here. So like we went to the Schenectady farmers market, there's the Saratoga farmers market. There's a bunch of farmers markets all around. So if you're interested in that segment, we can talk. And also, have you talked to Bharat Bagapelli in the main department? So Bharat Bagapelli is a professor of practice in the main department, and he came from VE Wind. So he spent like 30 years there. So I would suggest talking to Bharat Bagapelli as well.
Thank you. Yeah, Bharat was actually a PhD, but he got like captain around there. He's a good guy.
So he could also probably connect you with people who's very friendly.
And also, we might, maybe run out of time, but it might make sense to talk to some commercial folks, because I know kind of one of the big drawbacks of solar is, obviously it just goes during the day. So there's a lot of areas that have really high demand charges, and so you could capitalize there. I don't know how big this thing is, or maybe you have a system of them on like the roof of a mall or something like that, but that could be cool just to, because there's a lot of times an incentive not to go solar, especially in commercial.
One thing this was based on, so this design is based on scalability. This beam can be this small, can be a couple of feet long. Like it depends on how efficient it gets. So there's an exponential increase and decrease on the efficiency, and there's a certain peak where it performs the best, but it can also perform in a smaller scale where it just creates small amounts of electricity. So it's pretty variable, right?
One other contact is actually local. Natural power. Natural power. It's two words. They have a business. They've been around now for a while. They measure wind. So before you put up a wind farm, they do the measurements with, I think it's a LiDAR technique, so that you know how many stuff. So basically, they're static devices, and so that's essentially what this is going to be. But they have a lot of data. They may be able to use some devices to what sort of areas would be prime targets for this sort of installation. The guy is a really good guy. He's the president of American Operations in Saratoga. His name is Jim Adams.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Just one. It's not. You guys got your? Oh, you just sent it?
I don't think we have to have a drive.
Oh, you didn't put it out there? I'll find it. I'll find it.
Yeah, I sent it right to you.
Right to your email. Don't screw up. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, right there. Yep. I got it. I got it. Yeah, baby. All right. Okay, let it rip.
All right, so you guys know us, we're the Bad Page, me and Diana. We have two other people, Debbie and Anad, who are working with us remotely. We have, up to date, performed 34 customer interviews. of our guys and I went to a conference yesterday and got 15.
Oh, good.
So he really boosted it.
Conferences are good.
Just going to this doc, he hasn't updated this yet because he's probably still slipping up to this marathon. So
yeah.
they gotta be talking based on the other ones.
Yeah, we don't have the full work on it. So back to our original value proposition, we're trying to decrease the spread of high-risk facilities. So this was our initial business model canvas. Now, we only focused on the value proposition and customer segments part of the business model canvas, because that's all we really went over in the workshop here. I personally think it's better to understand that before we're trying to fill out the rest of the parts, because this is kind of where everything starts. So what was our original value that we were trying to deliver? We originally wanted to decrease this antibiotic resistant bacteria spread in hospitals, mainly. We did think about some other facilities, especially after hearing you guys suggest like daycares and cruise ships. One of our main values would be saving lives, saving money costs, easy to use, no installation, no maintenance, and the customization part of it. So this using bacteria pages would allow us to attach specific strains of antibiotic-resistant bacteria. It's obviously also pages are part of the natural part of the biosphere, so it's eco-friendly, and they have been used in other countries before. There's just no FDA approval, so we're somewhat along the right tracks. Which one of our customer problems are we hoping to solve? These costs of disinfectant treatments, even hospital related secondary costs in terms of reputation, legal costs. What are our products and services we're offering? So we haven't narrowed down precise dispersion mechanisms, but we were originally thinking of a spray or like a wipe type of system. And we also thought about being a service provider, so in terms of, instead of just selling a product, we could actually go in and clean the facility ourselves.
So one of the things you guys heard over and over again was people don't follow the cleaning protocols, right? So do the cleaning protocols now use a spray? Do they use a wipe? Do they use both? Or is there a consistent one now? And is there a way to fix it? Like say they use spray, but man, if they use wipes, then everybody would do it right? I don't know.
Yeah, so there's a lot, we'll probably get to that in the next couple of slides too, but there's a lot of preventive maintenance protocols in place, like washing hands, soap and water, a lot of gloves, a lot of change of lab coats, a lot of dispersible products. There's even a system, we talked to a physician who works in the ICU, and they have a whole automation type system where they close off the facility for a period of time, and this thing sprays out, some disinfectant solution, and then sucks it all up and turns it into water. So just to be able to reach all types of services, so that's another thing to avoid like some of the breaching protocols and policies, but we are keeping that in mind as something that we might be getting to in the market. I guess our customer segments, I jump to that, when we were originally thinking about creating value for, again, we were mainly targeting hospitals, so hospital cleaning personnel, administrators, doctors, nurses, and any kind of other professionals involved in maintenance of sanitary facilities. Our most important customers will be the people who write the checks for their maintenance of these facilities, but we have yet to identify these positions. That's still the chain of command we're trying to track. We do have some upcoming interviews with competitive markets doing the same type of thing we're doing and have gone through the same process, so I'm positive that we'll achieve pretty soon. And so that was our original, what we really thought our business opportunity was in the hospitals. And we had originally narrowed our focus down to one antibiotic resistant bacteria, specifically MRSA, because it was the most common and most critical bacteria to combat. We also assumed that these bacterial agents that we intend to use can combat any antibiotic resistant bacteria. And we plan to use them externally to the human body to avoid the FDA regulations in that spray or wipe form services. And with that, I'll take it into
All right, thank you. So we went ahead and started testing our assumptions, and we went for the road. We interviewed multiple potential customers from various backgrounds. We listened to them. We listened to their particular opinions on which bacterial strain they're interested in. And one of our big assumptions was that basically the reason they have issues with antibiotic-resistant bacteria is because these bacteria just appear there and no one cleaned them up. In reality, they said that they're fully capable of cleaning them up, but they just don't do it because of time pressures, because of hustles, because of high foot traffic, because someone forgot. So we reevaluated our thought process and we saw this as a potential other avenue of investigation, looking into how product coverage contributes to the problem of antibiotic-resistant bacteria. We also noticed another factor while interviewing people from different backgrounds. It appears that no matter what kind of facility it is, whether it's a gym or a daycare, whether it's a hospital or an EMT, basically the more crowded, the more foot traffic, higher level of emergency, or faster turnaround, the more there are issues with bacterial spread. So it made us look broader into the field and start looking at alternative facilities which are not closely associated with healthcare, as broad as, say, gyms or even, a busy railway station. So we also broadened our field of search to include people from the food industry. We looked at veterinarian services, and I mentioned daycares and gyms. And basically, some of the new insights we got is that we want to look at all the facilities with high foot traffic and possibility for bacterial spread. We were originally really interested in lab animal facilities. However, it appeared to be not a point of interest for us, since these facilities are precisely engineered and have very low foot traffic. So basically, they're almost quote-unquote sterile facilities. And for facilities of this kind, it's much easier for them to kill off all the mice once in 10 years when they have contamination. Most of their happy that they have. So our customer problems are still the same. We noticed from talking to, in particular, hospital people that we need to be able to reach all the contact surfaces. Another major lesson we learned is that even though hospital and healthcare can heavily rely on bleach for pretty much everything, there is a serious concern of use of bleach, particularly related to the health of hospital personnel, but a lot of hospital staff developing asthma and other respiratory diseases. So there was definitely an emphasis on using alternative, which is cleaner and more ecologically friendly and people friendly, but we have to test whether this is a concern for hospital administration as opposed to someone who thinks it for but does not make financial decisions. So again, we decided to look at a broad range of facilities with high foot traffic. We decided to look at non-directly healthcare associated facilities such as daycares, gyms, etc., cruise ships. And of interest, we identified two more entirely parallel opportunities. So first of them came from the numerous instances of people in healthcare reciting that basically all the issues they have came not from a particular rare strain of bacteria that are not able to eradicate, but rather from breaches in protocol, general sloppiness. So one of these potential markets is basically healthcare protocol compliance, and currently we see it more as a behavior change sort of solutions. for maybe creative solutions for reminded people, such as gloves, such change color once you wear them for too long or something like that. And another pretty narrow field we stumbled into was veterinary science, in particular equines medicine. So we originally came to a horse vet to ask whether they need more disinfection. And they were like, no, you know, we're kind of fine. It's pretty good, we scrub the horse. The problem's now they don't have enough antibiotics which work on horse. And like other animals, you can only use a couple of antibiotics on the horse. The antibiotic resistance in horse is on the rise. We're running out of it really fast. And it sort of made us walk back like 10 steps to the first day of the summer program. We're like, wow, they also were thinking about phage therapy, right? And it appeared to be really hard to implement in humans because FDA stuff that horse market, they can use anything unless someone sues them, and that's exactly the quote from the horse vet. So it was a fun thing to learn. Definitely, very parallel, but interesting tidbit.
We have a lot of horse people on them, you know?
Saratoga, yeah. Yeah, I touched on in there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And we have a lot of exciting plans. We attended 3 conferences and trade shows. So Nina just went to a conference dedicated to infectious disease technology, policy, and research called Infectious Disease Week. The week after next, I'm flying out to Baltimore to attend Beneficial Microbes, and it's going to be both scientists who work in the field of making beneficial microbe solutions and some industry professionals who I'd really like to talk with. And finally, October 20th, Mike will be in Miami to talk to clinicians and healthcare administrators in hospital-acquired diseases prevention conferences. We also have more interviews lined up locally, and we will be expanding into non-healthcare sectors like daycares, gyms, and such. One of our main goals here is also to pursue the chain of command in hospitals and find out who writes the checks, and we're pushing hard. We're not there yet. It's hard to catch these administrative people. And finally, we haven't even started scratching our heads about competitive IP and patents and such, so that might be something that might be about time to start looking into it.
So how are you going to find, on that second to last bullet, how are you going to pursue the chain of command? Are you going to go to the phone, the internet? How are you going to?
Yeah, so we already have these interviews set up with the marketplace I was talking about earlier. They've already got into these segments. So that's kind of our plan right now. These, talk to those 2 companies and they'll probably give us their perspective of what past insight as to how they did or who they talk to with their business.
Yeah, that's one avenue. Another avenue is that we're really liking to have one of our team members, Dana, to basically work in a med school. So far she's been talking to physicians, but she should be able to go up and sideways a little and find someone from her network. So there are 2 lines here.
Just start walking into hospitals. We took it, I used to teach with Bert, we took him to Samaritan Hospital and made him walk in and just start talking.
That's cool.
So just walk in. The worst that happens is you get asked to leave. But if you
I already got asked to leave from a medical facility, but they gave me a card of
first time. So you can go in and say, hey, we're RPI students working on a project with the National Science Foundation funded project. We're supposed to interview people who work in the office. I don't care if you start with the woman or man sitting at the front desk. Start there and say, who should we talk to? It works. I've done it probably 50 times. And you'll be surprised, they'll walk you right to something. Knock on the door and say, hey, I got a couple of students from RPI, can you give me 5 minutes? And all of a sudden you're talking to the head of HR. Okay?
That's encouraging, thank you.
Somebody at RPI must know somebody at St. Peter's.
Oh, tons of people, yeah, yeah. But I would just start walking in. Just start walking in the doors. Because if you come in as students and just doing customer interviews, you're not selling. They're just trying to understand how they do disinfecting processes now.
You could go in coughing and say you have MRSA and you need somebody. Is that?
I found some professors that'll study pathogen destruction, but they don't study MRSA.
A couple questions for contact. So, Mike, you're in the main department, right?
Yep.
You know Marie Diefenbach and Karen Phelan?
Yep.
Karen Phelan used to do ordering for St. Peter's, so she used to do all their medicine.
Oh, okay.
So she would know a lot about that. And
Okay.
she would also have contacts. You could talk to her. So she's right in the second floor of JC, right?
Yep.
Third floor. Second thing, kind of a question and then a follow-up to that. Are the phages that you're talking about, are they specific at killing certain bacteria or are they indiscriminate killers?
They are very specific, and basically you can produce them. You can make a cocktail of many of them, so they're pretty easy to mix and match. But yeah, you can go very specific. That's one of the advantages. You can adapt to evolve the bacteria pretty quick.
So that's really cool because I think there's a business opportunity there in that you could do like assaying of the bacteria that are common in a facility and then upcharge them for making a special cocktail that is unique to their facility that fights the bacteria that they had, right? You can say, well, we got it to pinpoint what you had, right?
Yeah.
And then you're not indiscriminate killers.
I think,
and
yeah, I
you
think
can charge
so.
for the assay fee too. Like,
Can you
hey,
imagine if you owned a horse, like, you know, the money they would pay for like a disinfectant, or,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
But you can charge them for the assay too, like collecting the bacteria.
That's
to
cool.
figure out
That's a
what
cool idea. I love the signature cocktail idea.
signature cocktails, yeah. Like, hey, I don't know. I thought it was a good idea.
I like it. Better than mine.
You're saying before, like, people are like, worried about bleach because it's harmful. Are the pages edible? Like, if someone consumed it, would they get sick?
They make like dog bowls coated with phages as a disinfectant, so you eat some phages now when you breathe and eat pizza.
Yeah, they just.
I'm not entirely sure. I think that our cocktail should be edible. It will not be harmful to humans. It will probably not be as good as an organic smoothie.
Well, the reason I was asking was because last year I met with some organic and raw farmers that sell raw milk and chickens that sell raw vegetables, and they're having a hard time containing certain bacteria. So what they invested in was imaging software to try and find out if the batch was bad. They would throw it out and they would put some dilution of your stuff on top of the food or into the milk and kill the bacteria that could be present. So you can't do that with bleach.
I'd love to talk to these farmers.
Okay, I'll look into it.
Awesome, thank you.
Say good job, guys.
Thank
Good stuff. All righty. You guys want to take a couple minute break, little bio break, and then we'll get back to it? Or do you want me to just keep trucking? Break? Quick break.
Oh yeah, I heard all of this in the lab, and now I think of
I got so many yeah, my daughter car just jumped in when she turned it off. We've been jumping in. Hey, what's those guys?
Nice job.
So, you can go ahead and it's probably going to die by tomorrow.
It's gonna kill my bacteria.
You're in the meeting?
Yes.
What do you teach?
Well, I teach thermoelectrics lab. I'm actually, my core responsibility is so I teach at our
Oh, nice.
so for
Oh, cool.
yes, we're Bunch of my students graduated. So yeah, oh, Karen, yeah, she's super friendly too. She'll give them yeah, Mike's in the he's a grad student, yeah, so he knows Karen. She has student council.
Kelly,
yeah, she did like all the work.
Kelly,
no problem.
So we're playing. She would never. Couple weeks
let's see, what was it?
Yeah, I understand.
Oh! No.
Mike, so you know the third floor of the JC, the dean's office, right? You just keep going down. That's the top. She's in there. She used to do like their ordering. Walk forward and supplies and stuff. Right. Yeah, so I think it's PA. You'll see emails from her too. Yeah. If she had you search her parent. Yeah, I mean she's pretty busy, so you might have to do a schedule one. But yeah, she may not be able to just like talk to you at any time. But I'm sure I would. Yeah.
And on top of that, when an iPad parked outside is
that's because they're trying to reach one. Reach out.
Like God would be okay. Pick it up.
weeks, we'll do the Okay, everybody, let's bring it on home. I know you guys have lives. You want to get out there and hit the streets on Friday night. Go get some drinks.
100, how many slots?
120. 120. It's going to look like a movie. I'm going to go so fast.
I like that analogy. I actually thought of that analogy. It's like a flip book, right?
Yeah. Let's do it. Okay, are we ready?
Yes!
You're ready? All right. Okay. Actually, your partner just walked out, but this is for you guys. I was going to.
It's all right. I'm working for two.
You're working for two. You ready for this?
Yes. Make it till we make it. Go.
Okay. Now we ready?
Still missed it.
I had to clean it before I used it. I'm good protocol.
Isn't armor something? Yes.
I don't trust you guys. I don't think you wash your hands. No, just kidding.
Pages all over.
All right. You guys
They're
ready?
edible. It is extra food to relax.
Look, the agenda is going to do a welcome, presentations. So we already did that. Thank you. Customers, funding, regional stuff, next steps, and then pitch prep. Okay? So we're going to go through a bunch of stuff. What have we done so far? Really focusing on the value proposition and the customer segments. A lot of you guys have done work on the other parts of your canvas too, which is awesome. I'm going to go through some of those other parts as well. But the biggest thing, like we've always been saying, you got to have a value proposition that's tied to a customer segment. Somebody has to value your stuff enough to pay you money for it. So that's what it's all about. If you don't have that, you got nothing. There's no need to fill out anything else on the canvas. Well, let's get at some of the other things on the canvas. Channels is where do you buy products? How do you buy these things today? So a customer may be here. There's dealers, resellers, distributors, etc. There's all these types of things. Like your chapstick, for example, or lip balm. Where do you buy that? Well, get it in stock, and people buy it. You don't go door to door selling chapstick. That'd be weird, So you gotta go where it's sort of natural channels to this. So what is a channel? It's how a customer wants to be reached, and who knows most about that is the customer. How do you sell siding? How do you sell solar? Are they sold differently? But people like to be reached the same way. Okay? So, where do you guys buy these? Where do you buy paper towels? Anybody?
Walmart. Grocery store.
Walmart, grocery store. Had one guy say Amazon. Like, Amazon? You buy paper towels on Amazon? Where do you buy your Christmas gifts?
Amazon.
Amazon. I buy mine on Amazon. How about glasses? Prescription glasses. Amazon, Richard?
I don't wear them. Parker forever.
You got to go to like an optometrist or something, right? Get your eyes checked and then go,
No, not anymore. Never bothered. Always ordered from Warburg Parker.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you do? But you got to go somewhere to get a prescription.
Well, it happened like once a while ago. It still works. It must go quoted online, right?
All right, I'm sticking with you. Suppose you have a house and you have a wood-burning fireplace. Where would you buy the wood?
Come on,
Amazon. Just do it online. Stewards can't buy them in little lots or bags. So, it's weird, but there's a wood guy that goes around my neighborhood. And it's like an ice cream man almost. This time of year, the wood guys always drive around like, hey, wood guy. Or he'll just stop by my house sometimes. He looks for chimneys. It would be weird if somebody's selling toilet paper door to door like that. Like, rings your bell. Hey, I got a truck full of toilet paper. Would you like to buy some? Or chapstick. I got some chapstick. Would you like to? No, I don't want to buy chapstick from you, traveling salesperson. It's weird. So you got to understand the channel, how your customer likes to be approached, okay? All kinds of different types. web ordering, systems integrator, direct sales force, outside sales force, distributors, wholesalers, retailers, all kinds of things out there to get your products to market. And it's going to be based really on how your customers like to buy. Other things that you guys will hear are things like OEMs, and that's the original equipment manufacturer. It's usually a misused term as far as I can see. Oh yeah, I got that. That's OEM by somebody. Like, what does that even mean? OEM and a value-added reseller, to me, are one and the same. So you go to buy a car, and all the components are made by somebody else. You know, Ford doesn't make brake shoes. Somebody else makes brake shoes, they sell them to Ford, they go in the car, then they sell that as a car. So Ford, in a way, is a value-added reseller if you're the brake manufacturer. Ford's going to add a lot of value to those brakes by putting it into a car, but that's like a value-added reseller, and then you would be the original equipment manufacturer of those brakes. Online stuff has, you know, if you're not selling a hard product, you're selling like a sort of a virtual product, several different channels for that as well, especially getting into like the e-commerce, social media, that type of thing. So yours is all, your commerce is all going to be online. Okay, so there's cost to all these channel activities. Stuff doesn't sell itself for free, you know. So your channel partner, the way you reach your customers, that person has to get paid. If they're going to touch your product and push it to your customers, they have to get paid. Maybe it's commission, percent of sales, you give them a discount on the product, they sell it and keep the remaining profit. So there's a little chart I like to show where you start off with like the cost of goods. So this thing, you know, it's a widget. It's got electronics, it's got a little display, injection molded plastics, a little LED right here. Those are all cost of goods. Those are all things that you have to buy to make this. Great. Even batteries inside, all cost of goods. You can add up how much those goods are going to cost you. That's not the full story. There's also cost of sales, general administration, overhead, R&D. There's a lot that went into this. So there's all the people's salaries, everything else that goes into this. There's the CEO of the company making this. They had a manufacturing force, they had a sales force, general, secretaries, HR. I mean, you name it. There's a lot of structure that goes into a company, R&D, and all that has to go into this cost as well. And then at the end, so these are all your expenses. Then at the end, you're like, I want to mark this up by 50%. That's your profit. So, and then also there's some discounts if you're going to sell it through a distributor or something like that. You might have a discount, or if you just want the flexibility to have a Christmas and July sale, we're going to sell it for 10% less. You're still making a profit if you do that. So this is the final purchase price out here. So this is considered your entire revenue. So if you use that as a final purchase price times the number of units that you sell, that's called your revenue. This is called your expenses. This thing called a margin is this divided by the revenue. So it's the amount of money you make beyond your expenses divided by the revenue. Of course, you want your margins to be high. So it's the profit over the revenue. You want margins that are 100%, 50% margins would be great. Typical margins for people, like LG's got a pretty good margin in general, it's like 15. So they sell at 50, they sell their stuff net about 15% margin. And that's pretty good. So you start talking to, if you ever have to license something from a university, in the old days when I was talking to RPI, they were talking about like 30% margin and stuff, or 30%, royalty on your product, which was ridiculous. You couldn't make any money, so why even start a company if you're going to do that? So anybody talking about those sort of numbers to reach in and grab, a percentage of your sales, probably not going to fly for you. Any more universities, including RPI, got a lot smarter. Well, I got a licensing agreement with it for 2%. Okay, I can pay 2%. So even if it's on the final sale, 2% of it, so there'd be a little red line here, that's RPI's cut.
2% is RPI now?
2%, yep. That's for an exclusive. For non-exclusive, 1%. And that's for stuff that's spun out of the university.
Licensing.
Licensing stuff, yeah. Okay. Example of high margin things. Diamonds, those are pretty high margin products. Tough to even figure out what the cost of goods on a diamond is, you know. But you gotta mine the stuff, they're deep in the ground. But they're basically, you know, rocks that are out there. You find them, you cut them all out. Bottled water has almost infinite margin. It's the craziest thing. It's got huge margins. You know, your costs are really the plastic bottle, any sort of purification you have to do for the thing, and marketing. But everything else is just printing money. So Fiji water, $4 a bottle or something like that, it's like printing money. It's the profit margin is so good. Cosmetics, same thing. Designer jeans, like these.
Looking good.
Profit, a lot of margin. These I didn't pay attention to, so don't be jealous. Low profit margins are things like food. That's traditionally a low margin sort of thing. Other things like high tech, like consumer electronics, those are surprisingly low. Like if Chinese manufacturers get into bidding wars and things like that to try to drive the price of things down, like LCD screens, you can go to Walmart now and buy a 60-inch flat panel display. What, for like $500, $600? It's crazy. They were $3,000 not too long ago. The price just keeps going down. You know, light bulbs, a mouse trap, I mean, it's a piece of wood with a spring on it. So that's low margin. People don't want to spend a lot on a mouse trap. So I hate it when people say, hey man, build a better mouse trap, and people beat your doors down, shove it so much. Maybe make a half a penny on each one. I don't want a lot of people beating my door down, but each giving me a fraction of a penny. Wouldn't be very nice, man. So don't spend time building a new mousetrap. Okay, so suppose you use a reseller. Reseller could be like Lowe's. If Lowe's private labels your thing that you have, they would be considered a reseller. So you're going to sell it to them for this. They're going to slap on this kind of thing and give some sort of discount. But they can have some fluctuation. You know, again, Christmas sales, after season sales, things like that. So the list price is out here. It's going to reduce your revenue. It's going to reduce your profit. But the stuff ain't going to sell itself, you know. And I know from experience, like I used to think, one of my last company, we were selling Christmas lights. And I was like, I can get out there and sell Christmas lights, man. These are cool. I know I can sell Christmas lights. I could. I did. I sold like 100 light strands after like 4 days of work. I sold them. I'm like, shit. 4 days of work, 100. That's all I sold, like 25 light strands a day. Or if you ever remember being a kid selling, you know, Girl Scout cookies or selling, you know, seeds or book subscriptions or magazines. How hard was that, right? Only your family bought the stuff. No strangers ever bought your stuff, except Girl Scout cookies. That's totally different. But nobody likes to buy things like that. So you got to have a distribution network. Suppose you go through a value-added reseller program or an OEM, or even an IP licensing agreement. So your product is here. You're making something that then goes into a much bigger product that's then sold through a distribution network. So you can see your profit gets crushed, relatively speaking. But again, it's not going to sell itself. We had this with a set of bioreagents that we made. We made these quantum dots with a special coating on the outside, and we needed to team up with an antibody company that would put an antibody, a very specific antibody on the outside of that, and then sell that through their network. So that's what we did. So they provided this much, we provided this much. Our profit shrunk a lot, but our volumes went through the roof. So we were able to sell much, much more of a product. Because they already had a sales channel and everything. Okay, and really the purpose of business is to create and keep a customer. I've said this before. It's simple, really simple. You got to create and keep a customer. And a customer is somebody that values your thing so much that they will give you money for that thing. Simple. Difficult to execute. But it's a simple idea, you know? Try not to lose sight of it. Here's sort of a classic funnel that I feel, sort of obligated to show almost when you get to the point where you have a product, you're going to then immediately be looking at how are you going to sell it and how you're going to retain customers and grow your customer base. So this part of the funnel is this acquisition. So you acquire customers, you get them to activate and actually buy. Then they are your customers, and you want to keep them. You want to keep them happy. We'll talk about the steps involved with that. From there, you want to grow. Your customers are the best conduit to grow new customers. They already are buying your thing. If you could tell them, hey man, you have any friends that want to buy that thing too? Oh yeah. That's a great, cost-effective way to get new customers. So you got to fill the funnel. You'll hire salespeople eventually, and you will tell them, fill that funnel. Get a lot of opportunities coming in. Get a lot of people looking at this product. So filling the funnel is a lot of it through media and things like that. So media relations, paid advertising, banner ads, etc. Social media, websites, blogs, things that you own yourself and control yourself. These are all outreach things. And there's no one thing that's going to work perfectly. It's going to be a combination of different things. I remember one time, just to give you a story about paid advertisements. We did a few. We did Google AdWords, which worked great, but we also put in a few advertisements in journals. So we took out an ad in Science magazine, full page ad in Science. I want to say it cost us $6,000 for 1 month. We put a little code at the bottom. You see this ad, get 25% off your order if you punch in this code or tell us about it.
What was it for?
For selling quantum dots.
Quantum dots? Okay.
And it was a special quantum dot edition of the journal. So there were lots of quantum dot articles. So we were like, fantastic.
Hit it on the bus.
Fantastic, right? Genius. It was my idea. I was like, it's genius.
You're great, Punch. You're great.
I was right. So let's take a poll. How many customers did we get? Richard is correct. 0. Zero. That's exactly what I said. What's that?
Who's reading Science magazine?
Yeah, nobody reads that stuff.
Well, are there
No, it's got a huge distribution. And it was like real highbrow, like, man, if you get into science, that's huge. 0. 0.
Why? Do you know
and
why?
these were the motherfuckers that were writing the articles about quantum dots, and they didn't want to buy this stuff. And we gave them a 25% discount. I was like, researchers are cheap.
Maybe they thought they were still there for the discount.
I don't know what they thought. I think they're like, this article continues. Let me get through all this riffraff shit here. What is this? Like, I should have scented the page or something. Wait, is that formaldehyde? Something geeky smell,
It's because no one reads the magazine, they just view the stuff online.
I think although bosses order it to stack it on their desk, and they just refresh the stack, and people who order lab managers and they all the read emails from suppliers. So it's always read an email with promotions from Sigma, Aldrich, and whatnot, but they're not going to receive the magazines.
So basically, to summarize, I think what you guys are saying, let's all laugh at the bald-headed man up here. Dumb decision. It's like, who knew that though? Who knew going in? We never took out another ad, so we learned. But you don't know. The point is, you don't know. It could have stuck, and then we would have gone with that forever. So I don't have the silver bullet for this. I don't have the secret sauce, secret formula for how you really get to fill this funnel. And with all you guys doing something brand new, you're not going to know either. And beware of experts. We've hired plenty of experts, and they can tell you that. So it's all about awareness, interest. You got to get them to consider it. Talk about the purchasing. This is where a strong value proposition comes in handy. You guys, customer, you actually have expressed that you need this. That type of thing. If you understand your customer segments and understand who they are, how they buy, how they think, the more you can understand your customer, the better off you're going to be. So, you guys, great job, 30 plus customers. You won't really start to understand your customer until 100 plus. You know, you get to 100 plus of a real target customer segment, then you're like, I'm starting to understand how these guys think and buy, their buying patterns and all this other stuff. So you got to really understand your customer segments, who they are, how do they buy, what role do they play in the company, who influences them, what's their motivation for buying this stuff. So the cost of getting a customer is expensive. So here's an estimated cost. I got this off the internet, so it must be true. Estimated cost to acquire a customer. Premium stuff, no-touch self-service, like web-based things, light-touch inside sales, or high-touch inside sales would be somebody outbound calling and things like that. Field sales with a senior executive. If you're trying to sell a multi-million-dollar wind farm project, you know, to somebody, they are going to want to talk to a senior executive outside salesperson. You know, that's just sort of the level that goes with it. Big solar install or something like that. It's going to be similar. You get more residential solar, you know, things like that. Not a big commercial thing. Yeah, field sales reps, things like that. They want to go out. You know, every market is going to be different, but in that instance, probably want to actually go out to the field where this is going to be installed. So you need feet on the street doing that. That's expensive. You got to have staff that go out to a farm field, you know, that look at wind patterns and stuff like that, and get out there to talk to the customers to do the actual sales. Yours is going to be, yours is going to be tough too, because you got to go door to door talking to businesses, business owners, because that's your customer. Your end users are coming with social media and stuff like that, but you got to have, you know, at least an inside sales force touching these customers to get them to sign up.
I think it's important to talk to the specific business owners or talk to people that have knowledge of operation.
Yeah.
You think they're both good?
Yeah, I think both of them. I think you're going to need to you're going to have to understand the full circle. But it's going to cost you, you know? Like if you were a company with many employees and stuff, you're trying to stay afloat and fill your sales funnel, you would have to have many of those people out there hitting the street. So, you know, getting a customer, not the easiest thing in the world to do. Keeping a customer is a little easier. We hope, right? So keeping a customer, you have to have customer service, some sort of outreach program, but to your customer segment, it can't be overbearing. Like if I got a call, I'm a United frequent flyer. If United sent me emails daily, I probably would say, all right, I'm done. You know, so they don't. They hit me just the right amount of time. They must have done a lot of studies on this. But it's like a loyalty program has kept me as a customer. Contests, events, blogs, things like that, updated products. We did an interesting contest once. It was hugely successful. We gave away, what was it, a Nano? Like an iTunes, what? iPod Nano. iPod Nano, when they first came out. Gave away a free iPod Nano to the first customer, to the customer that came up with the most references for intellectual property with quantum dots that dated back before 1990. They did all of our They were sending us PowerPoints. This was a public utterance. This was a PowerPoint given at Tulane University in 1989. Like, oh, that's wonderful.
How much is iPad Nano?
How cool is that?
How much is iPad Nano?
Nothing. It's like $100.
I was thinking like, because people are supposed to be in academia, they're supposed to be aware like how much they make per hour, and like they were making PowerPoints.
Hey man, they got a chance for a free iPod Nano.
Oh, I'm so cheap.
What? But then you wouldn't read the freaking magazine, you know? Get a 25% discount. So it's crazy. It defies logic. This is not like, dealing with customers is sometimes not logical until you fully understand how they think. So I always use pizza parlor as an analogy. I mean, if you go to a pizza place and they're rude and they're slow and the pizza's cold, are you going to go back? No. Customer would. You understand that. Like, you got to have good customer service, easy to do business with, stay in touch with them, but not too much. Admit when you're wrong, have a return policy. Like in my last company, we had a no questions asked return policy, and it served us pretty well. You know, it sucks to have to return products, but We got repeat customers that way too. Hey, I returned this last time, but I want to give it a try again. Okay. Customer loyalty things, surveys, things like that sometimes help. Anyway, lots of different ideas out there to keep customers. And then to grow your customers, there's other things you can do, especially if you have multiple product lines. So you guys might have an off-the-shelf phage thing, but then you train your salespeople to cross-sell, encourage them to buy adjacent products. You know, you tried the Phage Master 3000, but the 3003 is the latest one that's out. You guys might want to bundle that together, you know, or upselling. What I'm hearing, customer, you really need a cocktail. You need a custom cocktail. The trained technicians will come to your thoroughbred stall and do the swipes necessary to come up with a cocktail. So that's upselling. That shit's going to cost a lot. You know? Mixed selling. So this is like if you're selling office products, you want to be like the primary office product seller. So if somebody's buying paper from you, you're like, hey, I can sell you some coffee too. You need that for the office, right? Oh yeah. Unbundling, this is more for software. You can get into some things where you separate it, and the cost of the separate entities cost, you're actually making more money than selling the whole bundle together. Other things, especially online, you get people to like your stuff on Facebook, try things out, refer friends, all kinds of social media type things to try to encourage more people to come and be repeat buyers. This is where bloggers help too. If you can get things written about you, that's a nice, easy way to get some good marketing. Now, the opposite is true also. If somebody doesn't like your products and they start blogging about it, that's disastrous. That just happened. Oh, the people that did this whiteboard, right? So, the people that made this whiteboard, I forget the name of the company, it's over in Boston. ThinkBoard. And it's like, the idea was good. It's like, hey, what if I want a whiteboard, but I don't have any permanent space and I can't screw in walls in my dorm room? I'm just going to tack this up, you know, so it's got stickiness on the back or what? Sold like gangbusters and then crashed because people started writing bad things about it. Hey man, I tried to use this on my brick wall outside, it didn't stick. Oh yeah, no kidding. Oh yeah, my stucco Adobe, it didn't stick to that either. I can't believe it. Oh yeah, well my on this wet surface, it didn't stick either. On my slip and slide, it didn't stick on my slip and slide. Oh, you guys are using it wrong, man. It says right on there, it's got to be a smooth surface. Doesn't matter. People will never read how to use your product. They will never read. And we developed some night vision paint one time. Night vision paint. Now, laws of physics suggest that there's nothing that's going to just give off energy continuously forever. That just doesn't happen, you know? So this paint didn't just glow. You had to hit it with energy to make it reduce, you know, to get it to glow. We said that all over this. Oh, you gotta hit this with this kind of light, and then you get this kind of light up. That's what you gotta do. Night vision paint. People tried it, they painted everything. Hey man, this stuff doesn't glow. Did you hit it with the light? No. Well, we told you to hit it with light. Yeah, I know, but I thought it would just glow. I bought it because I knew it was gonna glow. Like, you're using it wrong. Oh, I want my money back. Like, that product line went out of business. We just couldn't. We couldn't do it. We couldn't educate the consumer enough. So anyway, we got to latch that because it was made of lead. We didn't tell them. Yay! Strike that. No, but we did say it was made of lead, and I'm kind of laughing because I'm like, hey, if they didn't read that you need to hit it with light, they didn't read it was lead. I'm gonna burn, man.
That's a long time.
Yeah, I'll be gone. Anyway, some other ones to grow. You know, you see this all the time. Hey, other customers that have bought this product have also been interested in this. See that on Amazon a lot. That's a great way. I've been hooked on that so many times. You know, like, oh, other customers bought that. Oh yeah, look at that. That is cool. I'm a sucker for that. I don't know if you guys are. Okay, so that's sort of the funnel. Now we're kind of jumping around. We're going to talk about funding. Now, probably premature, but giving you guys some tools to use later. As your company mature, you're going to want to go look for some funding. Okay? All of you guys could be looking for grants, because That's a good way to get free-ish money right now. And there's loans, non-traditional stuff, equity. We'll talk about that. So grants, we're going to talk more about this later with SBIRs, STTRs. And SBIR, you hear that a lot, is Small Business Innovation Research. All the big agencies in the government have an SBIR program. They also have an STTR. This is for independent business. This is for some sort of on-campus tech transfer. So this is more on-campus type. Requires some sort of collaboration with the university. The other one does not. Loans. You go get a bank loan for capital equipment, things like that. Economic development loans, small business backed loans, lines of credit, financing your receivables and your inventory. But if you don't have a product yet, you don't have an inventory, and you don't have receivables. Loans from banks are very, very difficult to get. You have to sign over your life, personally. They won't take it on the back of the business because the business doesn't have any real assets. So loans are always a very low risk thing for a bank, but because they have a backup of an asset, something hard to pay. Okay. So this is what $1 million looks like. So I show you $1 million because a lot of people are like, well, for my company to get the first business plan funded, I like to raise $1 million, maybe $500,000, something like that. Get it going, and then see how much extra I need. $1 million should get me going. This is what $1 million looks like. So, imagine if I had $100 bills. Those are bundles of hundreds. Hundreds. You guys, there'd be a riot. Richard would be down here, like grabbing them, beating people off. I know it. I did it once. Everybody wants a $100 bill, right? What if we had hundreds? What if I was throwing them out? Whoa, back row, boom. These bundles, man. You ever seen a bundle like that? Smell it? Hundreds, fresh. Hundreds are never crinkled. I got one $100 bill one time, and it was flat, not crinkled. They never get crinkled. How nice is it? We like to roll, have it all out, just roll it. Be fun. There's a lot. We count the stacks of hundreds. There's a lot of stacks of hundreds. So there's a stack. I don't know what you call it. A bundle. What do you call it? Kelly knows. In your drug lord days. But look at all those stacks. Look at all those stacks of stacks. There's a lot of cash there. That's $1 million. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. $1 million is a lot of money. When you're running a business, you're like, yeah, I need at least $1 million to fund this thing. It's a little bit of money. It's like, I gotta buy equipment, I gotta pay people, and that money's gonna last me not even a year. When you look at it, it's a lot of money. $1 million is a lot of cash. So how do you find investors that will give you this? One of the best ways to do it is to go find non-dilutive capital. That's a fancy way to say a government grant. So go out and get some government grant money. Go out and get some non-dilutive capital. This is what you're going to need. That's the best way to start a company right now, if you can get it. So the main thing is you got to think like an investor. So suppose you had that $1 million in a box under your bed. You said, okay, you got $1 million. You guys give me a sale, you give me your pitch. Why would I say, you know what? Here, you take this box. You take this $1 million box because you could do better with it than what I'm doing. Very unlikely. Because what you have too much risk. They don't want to risk it. If they saw you guys were like, so what you're telling me is I can slide you this box, and then in a year, you give me back 3 boxes. And I trust you. And I know you've spoken to your customers. You know what? I'm going to slide you that box. Because your risk profile is low, and the reward seems pretty high. Until you get to that point, you're not likely to get somebody to slide you that box and $9 bucks. So, yes.
How much money do you think you get from grants?
We're on a phase. We just got a phase 1 SBIR grant for $225,000. we're in the hunt to get a phase 2 SBIR grant from NSF for $750,000.
And it phase 3
Phase 3s are a little rare this time, but other agencies have different numbers. I was on a DARPA grant one time for $5 million. So you could get these big programs, like the DARPA program, where you get a lot more money. But the typical small business innovative research, the SBIRs from the different agencies, they start around $250,000, and then they end up with $1 million all in.
So with these government grants, you just have to do outreach or something? Like what's their incentive to give you money? How do you pay them back?
Okay, so how do you pay them back? What are you supposed to do?
You will pay taxes.
They want to see, ultimately, all these agencies, they want to see jobs created here in the U.S. and the economy going up. That's the motivation behind why would anybody give, they give me $250,000. Why the hell would they do that? Now I'm hoping to get another $750,000. Why? Okay, we got a technology we think we could actually manufacture here in the U.S. It's so robotic, it's so touch-free, that we think we can generate some jobs, not a ton, but some jobs here in the United States and have a display manufacturing facility. That's the overall. To get there, the money has got restrictions, of course. They wouldn't let us pay for any marketing, so we couldn't take out an ad in science. You can't pay for that. You can't have huge salaries, so you can't pay, people like a huge salary. And huge is relative, it's like 80,000 or something like that a year. You can't spend it on patents, you can't spend it on legal counsel to get non-disclosure agreements written and things like that. It's got to be strictly paid to further the science, because that's an actual science foundation money. Everybody's going to be a little bit different, but typically follow the same pattern. They don't want you to spend money on your corporate stuff, that's on you. They will fund your research and get the technology developed further to de-risk it. And that's what they say it right out, it's to de-risk your technology. And also hopefully they improve your people risk too. Because if you manage $1 million of federal funding, you're going to be a more trustworthy person. If you're just a dude off the street looking at your people risk profile to an investor, they're like, dude, you've never done this before. Why would I trust you? And this is an occasion where a venture capitalist might say, I will invest in you, but I'm putting my own guy Charlie in there as CEO, because I trust him. So that reduces their people risk. Technology risk is largely going to be on you. Investors won't typically know anything about that. NSF helps with that a lot. Finance risk, you have the biggest finance risk, because you're developing something that might have the FDA approved. So you were just saying, it may take $70 million. So how likely are you to go say, hey investor, I need $250,000 right now to get started. I want to take it to that next level. They'll look at you and say, wait, I'm looking at the finance risk. You're telling me you need $70 million to make money to get to that end stage where you have a product? My $250 sounds like it's not going to get you there. Yeah, you're right. I'm going to give you step one. No. So it happens. It happens. I mean, that's how drugs and stuff get funded, but it's very tough, And probably your first round would have to be a much bigger round, but they would also expect you to go raise significant money from NIH and other places to get for de-risking. Market risk, things can change. If you have, back in the day, if you were making CDs and DVDs, you're making it really fast, much better way. The market went away, like MP3, solid state stuff. So that market just totally changed. Yeah.
What is the deal with rounds? Like, why break your funding, looking for funding up rounds instead of just doing it continuously? I can just look this up.
No. Let me get to that. That's a very good question. Don't let me slither away from that, because it's coming up. Okay. I'll talk about it. It's partially described here too. So senior debt, you go to a bank. Any of you guys go to a bank right now, hey bank, look at this idea, I got a really good idea, here's my business model canvas. What do you think they're going to say? You want money? You want me to give you money? It's way too risky. You don't even have products coming in, or sales. They're all going, okay, what's your revenue? Like, nothing. What? Bank's not going to give you a loan with nothing. That's why they get a kick out of like one of these regional economic development things and stuff like that. It's filled with bankers. and never gotten money from a bank. I did it. I took out a personal loan to keep my company afloat. Maybe that's what they're looking for, you know? Senior debt, venture capitalists anymore, they used to be okay with more risk. Nowadays, no way. Venture capitalists want to see that you have got a product that you know how to scale up the manufacturing, and you have customers. Already have customers. They want to see that. Angel capital, better. They're a little more friendly, but still, they require a lot. And then there's friends, family, and fools. And they're out here. You can always, any one of you guys can go out and raise money from somebody right now, based on your idea. And guarantee that you find somebody. They're going to be in this category: family, friends, or fools. Not institutional investors, but you will be able to convince somebody. Economic development funds, and then here's NSF, SBIRs, and others. So they're willing to take a risk all around, you know? People risk, okay. Technology risk, that's what we're all about here at NSF. We want to reduce that technology risk. Finance risk, etc. They are a lot more tolerable. And they saw this need years ago that the SBIR has to get more funding because the venture capital has dried up. So this fills a real need. So answering part of your question now, you see there's sort of different stages. You know, so you get to this sort of grant level, angel levels are out here, venture level in there, and then ultimately banks in there. Sort of gets you a flavor for one reason why there could be different rounds, but I'll talk more in detail about it. So your goal really is to reduce your risk. Everything you do in this course is about reducing your risk. Technology risk, we study that a little bit. Finance risk and market risk we're mostly focused on. And hopefully reduce the people risk because it puts you guys through give you some tools that make you a better manager, leader, business owner, okay? Friends and family, they invested $60 billion last year. Angel investors, 20, venture capitalists, 22, and customers, there are some customers that will invest $2.8 billion. Friends and family, they invest a lot. So again, any one of you guys in this room can go get money from friends and family. Banks will typically laugh at you unless you have real cash flow. But here are some other reasons why investors will ignore you and how much you guys get thick skin. Is they'll say, you know, leader, your team sucks, no traction, etc. And look at these. A lot of common reasons are you. You are not coachable. You have no domain experience. Your team sucks. You have no experienced members on your team at all. And investors will say this to you because they have $1 million on their side and you want it. And they can be like, I don't trust you. I don't trust your team. And it's hard to hear these words sometimes. So just be prepared when you talk to somebody that's got a box with $1 million in it and you want to get that box, that they have the right to say, hold on, I got to understand you a little bit more because right now, I don't think you're cut. Okay, so friends and family, again, you can go out, but do you really want to ask your dad to cash his 401k? You know? You want your grandma to give you, you know, $10,000 as an investment? Uncle Joe? You know, what if Uncle Joe wants his money back in a year because he didn't understand? You're like, no, Uncle Joe, he's like any customer. Uncle Joe, wait, I told you it'd be 5 years before we generated your money. No, I want my money back in a year. Like, you told me a year. No, Uncle Joe, I never told you a year. I told you 5 years. Uncle Joe's pissed because he didn't get his money back in a year's time. You know? So you got to think long and hard about this. Look at these faces. These are people whose lives I have personally ruined by taking their money. No, I'm kidding. But this is the kind of face you get. Grandma, can you pass the turkey? And also, I can't pay you back that $10,000 that you loaned me back in September. I'm sorry. That's what grandma's going to look like. And you're not going to get the turkey passed out here. So you got to think long and hard about this. Additionally, unqualified investors will hurt you. Suppose your grandma is an investor in your company. What are you going to look like when you go to a venture capitalist or somebody that's got a nice shiny $1 million in a box? They're going to look at, okay, who else invested in you? What, your grandma invested in you? What? Wait, grandma's on the board of directors? What? She's a shareholder? Can vote? What? Like, no, it taints you. So you gotta watch out for that. Follow-on investors won't hunt your grandma. So I just went through this, suppose somebody gives you, they buy 20% of your company for, somebody really nice and gives you $50,000 to start it. They want 20, and they want to help you because they have sold cars their whole life and they know how to sell your superphage. They know everything about sales. I've sold cars my whole life. Like, great, be on the board, here's 20%. Next time you raise money from an institutional investor, they see a used car sales and they're like, you're bullhorn. Not gonna be happy. So it detracts. There's two different kinds of angel investors, individual angels and angels that invest in a group. Typically these are rich individuals, they've done something good, they have a pile of cash. Whenever I've been invited to a rich person's house, I check the cushions for money. And I also look under the bed for that box of $1 million. I just think that if I was rich, I would have a box with $1 million in it somewhere, but I had not found it. Anyway, there are local rich people and things like that. But the key is they want to see you succeed. Local angels, they want to see your company succeed because they get a vested interest in seeing this whole region rise up. So venture capitalists don't have it. Angel investors in a group, they invest as a fund. They have a fixed process. Other angels as individuals, they don't have a fixed process. Here's an example of a local angel network. It's called the Eastern New York Angel Network. It's run right here out of Albany. Typically, they don't invest in apps. They don't invest in biotech. They invest in things that they know. That's more widgets and gadgets and things like that. $250,000 convertible debt. That's their typical way of doing it. So that means they're going to give you $250,000. But they're not going to put a price on it. They're not going to say, okay, that buys you 20% of your company. That's going to buy a percentage to be determined in the future. So when you raise money the next time, they can convert this debt into a price per share that's discounted. So a new guy comes in, he's got $1 million, he's going to invest, and he's going to pay $10 a share. These guys, their $250,000 can be converted at $2 a share instead of 10. Some sort of pre-negotiated thing where they get a good deal. Also, debt should make you feel nauseous. Anytime you hear the word debt, I want you to cringe. Feel like somebody just hit you in the gut. Oh, because debt means they own you. If you default on your debt, because this will have some payback clauses. If you default on your debt, if you have a house, you stop paying your mortgage. What happens? Oh, they can take it. Your car, they can take it. Your business, they can take it. Convertible debt means it's debt. They can take your company. Yeah.
Would you recommend going for that 250K convertible debt?
Would I recommend going for this? Sure. I mean, if there's no other options, with any of this, your only weapon are options. Only weapon you have, options. I don't like these terms. I don't want this to be convertible debt. I'm going to take $250, but I'm going to map it to stock at $2 a share. That's it. So you get a stock at $2 a share. I can tolerate that. Can you tolerate it? They may say, no, I want it to be convertible debt. Because I want that, that power. The only way you get a better deal is if you walk away and do something else. Yeah.
I think it's a problem too because then it's going to fear folks like, and obviously you want to make your money. But with some products, like for example, the health product, he needs to be focused on figuring out how it works and who the customer the needs is. But he's currently also focused on to make sure I can pay him back and then make decisions that I'll get to the world.
Oh, you as a founder or officer of a company, you flip flop every day. You're doing different things. So I used to play this role where I'd be an externally focused CEO for a while, focus on money only, and then once we got money, then you're internally focused. But you're right, you're always focused on paying off the debt. Everybody in the company should be. Because it just should give you a real sense of urgency. These guys are going to want a board seat, some sort of advisory role in the company, some other things like that. And you got to make a decision, okay, do I want to do that? If there's no other money, okay. Angel money is not terrible money. Venture capital money can get really bad. Distressed debt hedge fund money from New York City shysters is even worse. Not that I'm bitter about it, but I'll tell you a story about it sometime, not on camera. Okay, angels are typically smart people that have done something great, but as Bill Gates said, success is a lousy teacher and seduces smart people into thinking they can't lose. If you had a success, knock one out of the park, then you think your advice is gold. Sometimes it's just not, you know. So if they're investors in you, gone are the days when it's just a couple college people hanging out. Oh, it's great, man. We're our own bosses. This is awesome. I love it. Once you take money, you're not your own boss. Get that illusion out of your head. You're not going to be your own boss if you have your own company. Unless you totally bootstrap the whole damn thing yourself. Don't raise a dime. If you raise a dime, your fiduciary responsibility changes. Your boss changes. Your decision-making processes change. You have to bounce everything off these guys. They own it. They have the money. You can't piss them off. As a CEO of a company, your investors are your boss. Period. Written in corporate law. You have to answer to the board of directors, which is going to be populated by investors. So you're never going to be a free CEO to just do whatever you want. No. So you want to try to make sure that your investors' intent and your intent are aligned. We're going through this right now because my new company, I want to sell it in a year and a half. So I would consider that sort of a quick flip. I don't want to run it for 15 years. I just did that with my last company. It took a lot out of me. I want to just do it for like a year and a half. Well, I better find investors, and I better tell my investors that is my intent. Because if they're like, if they come in giving me money, and they're like, nah, in 10 years, I see us IPOing and for $150 million. Like, they better not have that idea, because that's not aligned with my idea. Okay, so you got to be real honest with stuff like that. You can't hold back your intent. So venture capitalists, they're going to have different focused areas. So every one of you would go to a different venture capital fund because they're all going to fund different specialties. So we're all different enough in here. There's going to be a specialized fund for you to hit. They want to see products and revenue before they really talk to you. They want to see a seasoned team, things like that. I hope that you guys have the pleasure of speaking to a VC, but I want you to be prepared to be absolutely humiliated. But you will be stronger in the process. We'll talk about it in a bit. The NSF I-Core program, it's a national program that's similar to this. On purpose, the teachers try to humiliate you, make you feel small, and push you. And they're trying to act like venture capitalists. I've been giving a pitch, poured my heart out to a venture capital group, and the senior guy turns to the person to his left. Okay, Jimmy, why aren't we going to invest in this company? The CEO has no experience? Yes. Sally, why else aren't we going to invest in this company? Their value proposition is weak? Yes. Okay, I'm like, I'm here, I can leave. If you want to talk about me, I can leave. You don't need to do this in front of me. But it's just a way, like, they do it all the time. To me, it's like buying a house. If you guys go buy a house, are you going to be like, this is every single thing I've ever dreamed of. It is absolutely perfect. I can't believe everything is perfect. You're more likely to be like, talking to your spouse, I love this place, it's awesome. But that water heater has got rust on the outside. I swear that thing could blow any moment. Oh, that roof, how old is that thing? It's ancient. The shrubs out front, terrible. Oh, the painting on the walls, terrible. Is that a water leak up there? Like, you degrade that thing because you don't want to pay full price. So VCs are doing the same thing. They try to humiliate you. They don't want to pay full price. They want to get you down where then you're like, oh, please just give me money. Okay, I've decided to give you money, but here are my conditions. Then it's like, okay. If they just came in with those conditions, you'd be like, oh, hell no. If you get beat up a little bit, then it's like, okay. So the honest truth about raising money for VCs is a lot like dating. So if you could get somebody to introduce you to the VC, way better. If you cold call a VC, hey VC, I got something you might be interested in. They're like, I've seen 100 of these today. But if you get somebody to vouch for you and introduce you to them, it's going to be way better. Again, it's not like dating. I mean, if you go call a potential suitor and you say, hey, I may be interested to you. Would you like to date me? They're like, what? I don't know you. Like, same thing, you know? You can't go up. I've tried this before. Wait, Kelly left so I can tell. You can't go up to a girl at the bar or a boy at the bar and say, I find you attractive. I feel that my attributes and yours are aligned. I would like to date you and then marry you. I tried it, and you can't. It's not going to work because you got to develop a relationship. You know, this person's going to slide you a box with $1 million in it. You can't just go up to them. Oh yes, we're perfectly aligned, and please give me your money. That's I want your money, and I think it will work out fine. Like no. I mean, it's better to go in and start talking to them and be like, listen, I think that your VC fund could be good for me like later. I'm not interested in raising money right now. I'm good. But I just want to see how do you vet these companies? What do you look for? Because I'm not sure I want your money. That kind of thing. Like, I don't know. Like, what process do you use? What do you expect? You want a year and a half turnaround on your money, or do you want to wait for 15 years and flip it at a much higher valuation? I'm going to figure out what's right for me. So do it when you don't need money. And then sometimes customers will give you money, and that's not fair. Before you begin to raise money, you got to understand what it's going to be used for. Everybody is going to ask you, all right, what are you doing with this money? Use the funds. You have to have that written down. How much of the company are you willing to give up? How many rounds do you want? So, getting into the round question. You want to raise money when your value has gone up. Then you raise money. Then you wait until another value point, because you're going to get these value points along the way. File a bunch of patents, you hire a bunch of key people, you get a breakthrough in the lab, you have your first customers. After that, there's a spike in value. Otherwise, you're just sort of trucking along. Right after that value spike is when you want to raise money. You can do it at a higher valuation. You can give away less of your company. So that's one reason for rounds. The other is, again, you don't want to give away too much of your company. Like right now, we just raised $100,000 in a seed round for my company. And that's good. That's kind of all I want to do at this point because the value's low. And there's a chance I could raise $1 million right now, but then somebody would own a huge chunk of the company. So I want to take this, team it up with the $750 that we get from the NSF for phase 2. After that phase 2, then I can go raise money. We got $750,000 in the door. So that's why you want to do it in rounds, so that if you did everything in one round, your initial investors will own everything. And there's really no such thing as a rolling close. You can't just roll with different stock prices, because investors, they like risk reduction. We just raised $100,000. We did that because one investor, we had several investors interested. One of them wrote the first check, $15K. Okay, I'll do $25K. All right, I'll put in another 10. All right, I'll do 50. And it was just pile on. And in 1 week, we raised $100,000. But it all happened at once. It's like, stuff precipitating out a solution. You throw in like a little nucleation thing, everything happens, So.
Are you telling the VCs, hey, I'm in my seed round?
Yeah. And they also ask how much you're going to raise and that kind of stuff. Now that moves, In fact, when I started, I was like, we're just going to try to raise 50. Then we raised 100. And it looked good. Like we were above 50. And they were like, I thought you wanted to stop at 50. Yeah, I did. But, we got 100. They're like, oh, okay. So there's actually a chance we could raise 200. Okay. I think I can do that. All right. That makes sense? All the rounds. Every round also could have different hooks. An investor that comes in with a $10 million round of money, like later, he or she may want liquidity preference, which means I get my money out before anybody else. Like all kinds of warrants and ways to claw back to get there to protect that $10 million. And the guys that came in originally have nothing to say about it. There's nothing they can do. So if you're one of the first investors, you better grab a big chunk. because that's going to be probably your last chance of getting a big percentage because it's going to get diluted over time. All right, talk about intellectual property, copyrights. This is more for publications and things like that. Trademarks. If you want to have a really strong brand and things like that on your product, a trademark can be very important. We did that with some of our product lines where it's like more commercial things. If you're selling, business to business, actually for your, wooden lip balm thing, trademark and copyrights and things like that, trade dress, these are going to be important things for you because you're probably not going to be able to patent it. Patents are more, for some sort of invention that you can protect that nobody else has done before. But a patent is really a negative right. So, because you say, I got a patent for an LCD screen used on a single diode communicator to flip PowerPoint slides. So my patent is for this screen. That doesn't mean you can produce all different varieties of this. No, it means nobody else can put that type of screen on a remote that does this. That's it. So it's a negative right. It means you can stop somebody else from doing what you want to protect. A provisional patent is sort of a newish way of cheaply filing something, filing a patent. You can still call it patent pending. It's a provisional patent. It's sort of a lightly written patent that draws a line in the sand and says, that's your idea. You can call it a patent pending idea, but in 1 year, you have to convert that to a real full patent application. Typically, a patent application is going to cost you a lot more than a provisional patent. You guys can write a provisional patent yourself for $100. It could be worth $100 only, depending on how you write it. But if you write it anymore, we actually have a lawyer or patent agent write our provisional patents because we write it like it's the real patent application. Have it written by a patent agent, not a patent attorney, that'll be cheaper, and it looks like a full-out patent with claims and everything else. So when you convert it to a real patent in a year, it doesn't actually cost that much. But your provisional costs a lot more. You literally will do it for $100. Our provisional patents cost us $2,000, maybe $3,000. International patents, this is important if you want to, again, the negative right, if you want to stop somebody from making something or selling something in another country, then you got to have a patent in that country. But let's do an exercise. Suppose these are being made in China, they got your technology right here, and they're being shipped and sold here in the United States. You can stop them because they're being sold here in the United States. If they're all sold overseas, you can't do anything unless you have a patent, or unless you have an overseas patent that you could use and stop them from doing it. Okay? All right. Investment readiness level, technology readiness level is, we started here, sort of the first pass at the canvas. You look at market sizes, problem solutions, validated product market fit. So this is validated after dozens and dozens and dozens of customers. You really understand your customer and you really understand the product market fit. Validating the right-hand side, left-hand side of the canvas, all this kind of stuff really gets you to the point where you are getting more and more investment ready. You can get investors down here, you can get investors up here. So there's going to be, it's all shades of pink in this example. So it just depends on how mature you are. But as you go up, you're reducing risk on all those axes that I talked about before. All right. So that was sort of investment stuff. Any questions on investments, patents, anything like that right now? Because I want to get into some local resources and then your next steps with SBIRs. Ready? So there's a group called IgniteU NY. Bruce, I don't know if you want to talk about this, but I got a few slides here. This is a conglomeration of different folks from around the region. Troy Innovation Drives, Biz Labs over Schenectady, IgniteU right here, Albany Medical College, etc. So all these guys are all in one group called IgniteU. It's sort of the idea is it's one-stop shopping for you guys. In fact, there's some brochures right here, so you can grab these on your way out. These guys could be a resource for you. They have lots of lots of connections, lots of tools in their toolbox, things like that. Their goal is to help nurture companies. So missions to drive commercialization in upstate New York, supported, yada yada, whole ecosystem. As you guys have already seen, you really can't be a one-person company or a two-person company. Or, you know, our biggest group is like a five-person company. It's really not going to cut it because you guys are probably all with similar backgrounds. Wouldn't it be nice to have somebody that specializes in HR and scale up manufacturing and all these other things that you're going to need in your company to be fully functioning? This group and others help with that. So there's a whole ecosystem that's out there, hopefully ready for you guys to tap into. And it's really to help startups get growing and give you the resources that you need to fully fill out your group. They suggest grants, state grants, federal grants, there's some local grants, things like that. Suggest people that can help you out, all kinds of stuff. I won't get into this, but this is how they operate. There's the three main players are U.S. Studio Albany, Rensselaer, Polytechnic, and Center of Economic Growth, CPG. That's the operational side. Other partners and stuff on the incubators, accelerators, things like that around the region. Community and entrepreneurial services like law firms, branding stuff, all kinds of things like that. Advisory committee filled with rock star list. Oh wait, look at that. Even Bruce is on that list, ladies and gentlemen. So, good folks. I mean, these are all folks we actually just talked about. Joe Inya, Eastern New York Angel Network. So these are all people that are going to be important in your ecosystem. They live in your ecosystem. Chamber of Commerce, accounting firms, etc. So it's in the 518 district. Okay. There's more local stuff. This is RPI, so I figured, hey, I'm employed at RPI. I'm going to plug some RPI stuff, but I'll go through it quick. At the Severino Center, where we work, we try to do all the early stage stuff. So here's our website down here, Severino Center for Technical Entrepreneurship. We help students mature their ideas. We take them from this early stage, seed stage, and we walk them through. On campus, we have this emerging ventures ecosystem. It's a series of programs and accelerators, things like that. Ultimately, end up at the Rensselaer Technology Park, so an office park. So hopefully you grow your company big enough so that you can actually get space over the office park. On campus, this is what we do. We start with an idea phase. We have different business plan competitions. We try to put people through this. You're going through it now. And your next step is NSF I-Corps, the national program. We're going to talk about this in a minute. $50,000 per team to do this national program. Then you get into the SBIR program. Then hopefully you get some venture funding or something like that for your viable company. Okay, NSF I-Corps team program. This is the national version of this. I don't know if you remember lecture 1. I was like, man, this NSF I-Corps thing works so well with taking ideas out of the lab and making commercial viable companies out of them. It works so well that they wanted to divide it up and make it more fine-grained. Well, we're one of the grains. So we're one of the sort of more local programs to put you through some of the stuff that you'll see in the national program. National program, like I said, these guys try to make it run like you're talking to venture capitalists. They're tough. They got to get 100 interviews. I think it's 100 interviews in the national program, and they will hold you to it. They will have weekly phone calls that are not like the weekly phone calls we have. You have to be on the phone the entire 3-hour stretch. If you drop off, they will call you and say, why are you not on the phone? Your team is in jeopardy of being disqualified. Like, yeah, you get on the phone pretty quick. So they're tough, they're rigid, they're strict. You have to go follow their program. You get 50K. 50K to go do more customer discovery. But you also get an NSF pedigree with us going through this program. You get even better NSF pedigree going through this program, plus you get 50K. Talk about reducing risk to your investors. Oh yeah, I went through the NSF program, got a couple thousand for that, did some early customer discovery, went through the national I-Corps team program, got 50K, then they start, wow, really? Yeah, I talked to 100 customers in that program. Whoa, 100, really? Like, you're reducing the risk. That's what it's all about. Your team has to include an entrepreneurial lead, principal investigator, and industrial mentor. think that's right. I thought they called the EL the principal investment. This is somebody on campus. So this is somebody that does most of the work. This is somebody on campus that's affiliated with the university. What's that?
Who takes all the credit?
Who takes all the credit. And this is an industrial mentor. Okay? Similar to this program right here. So we make you have an entrepreneur, you academically, etc. But it's still, you know, at the bottom line, it's NSF money. They still like to hook back to a university. They're used to funding universities, that's what they do. It's a rolling basis. You can go to their website and download a video. They have monthly conference calls. I think it's the first Tuesday of every month. They'll have a conference call and they will walk you through a bunch of slides that describes the program. But go to the NSF I-Core website, you'll find a wealth of information. Oh, here it is. Look at that. So go here. These slides are out on the shared folder, and you can learn more. First Tuesday. If you do this, if you apply for this, let us know. You have to let us know, because we can help. Because we've seen teams that didn't tell us, and they applied, and they got laughed. And that we look bad as your teaching team, because they're like, what the hell? You can't even articulate your value proposition. And hang out, like, oh. So we can help you guys, give you some tools to get you through it. Okay? Let us know. The next step after that is the promised land, the SBIR grants. They say that if you go through the I-Core program, you are more likely to get an SBIR. That's sort of the treat at the end of this. Phase 1, 250,000, 225, something like that. Phase 2, 750. Small business, yada yada. 11 different government agencies have these. You guys may go to NIH, NSF. Department of Commerce, I think, has them. There's lots of different ones out there. Just do a Google search on solicitations for SBIR program, and you'll see a whole list of different things. You may be surprised with some crazy stuff that they have out there. So yeah, NSF is good. I already talked about this. SBIR.gov, you can get a lot of information out there. Again, you may be surprised. Maybe there's some Department of Commerce things that could help with lip balm packaging in the U.S. Green, you know, you may find something that's like, oh, buzzwords, green, recyclable, you know, oh, I got that. Okay, good. I would suggest if you're going to apply for one of these, also call us because we can help. There's some techniques to it. If you can get a hold of the program manager for that particular program and have a phone call with them, that's going to help you a lot. It's customer discovery. Do the same thing. Hey, program manager of this program, I saw this solicitation. I may have something that could interest you. I don't know. I mean, you know, can we talk about it? And then you start talking. And it's customer discovery. All right, I'm going to go through the pitch really quickly. This is what I want to see on the final pitch. So I'm pretty sure I want to see this in the final pitch. If I change it, then just change the last slide. But I think I want to see this. You guys aren't investment ready yet. You know that. It's okay. This will give you practice in doing your first pitch in front of people doing an investment pitch. It's something you got to do. If you're going to raise money, this is something you got to do. So premature, I know, but I think we got to go through. So this is what I want on the slides. Slide 1, value proposition. Who your team is, too, introduction. What have you been working on? Give some examples of what's your value proposition. Slide 2, the problem. What's the customer point of pain you are solving? And then how do you validate this? You can say it in words too as you're talking, or you can put it down in writing, it's fine. But just like, you know, yeah, we found out, you know, our value proposition is this, the problem that we're solving is this. We found that out because, man, we talked to 27 customers, they all said the same thing. That's powerful. These slides are all out there, so you guys, these are all shared out there on the Google shared drive. Target market and opportunity, some sort of market size estimate. So, yeah, we think for the, you know, for this fat phage market, we're talking about, you know, this many injuries a year or something like that, illnesses costing $3 billion. We think we can capture a fraction of that, you know, with our technology. Doesn't have to be exact, just, you know, we want to see some numbers. The solution. So what is it, you know, what product or service do you have? This is where you get more into the product, you know. So I'm building a, you know, sort of self-powered pump system that goes in to make it so that you don't need transplants. Revenue model, how are you gonna do it? You know, you're gonna do a monthly subscription to your app. You're gonna sell, you know, you guys are pushing the site, you're gonna sell it, but okay, you're gonna really do it through some government grants too. So you got the government coming in to fund, you got this and that, a lot of moving parts. That's how we're gonna do it. So describe to people how you're gonna make money. Traction, this is a really good slide. I'd love to see how many customers you've spoken to, validation of things on your canvas, future plans for continued customer discovery. They like to see you guys excited talking to customers. It can't be drudge work, you know, it's gotta be like, I can't wait to talk to the next 100 because this is great. You know, I'm so excited about this. Here's what's happened in the past. We thought this, we got this, here's the traction, here's the validation. How do your customers want to be reached? A lot of people focus on this. So they're like, how are you going to sell to these people? They want to make sure that you've talked it out and you know the approach to your customers. Again, you don't want to go door to door selling lip balm. You will freak. So how are you going to do it? Oh, at the exit counters, you know, or stocking stuff. I don't know, TV commercials. You're going to do that. Talk about the team. Financials. Just take a crack at it. You know. How much anything we're going to sell in the first year, you know, after we make products. First year we're going to make this much, second year, 5 years. It's a guess at this point, but it'd be nice to show something with some validation, some logic behind it. Everybody just wants to see logic, you know? They just want to see that, wait a minute, in 5 years, you're going to sell $100 worth of products? Ooh, that's 5 years from now, and only $100 in sales. Conversely, if you're like, I'm going to sell $100 billion worth of products in 5 years, they're going to be like, really? So it's got to be something realistic, educated guesses, put some logic behind it, and be a couple questions. Competition, we may not do a pedal diagram, because that gets confusing to people, but competition meaning like, all right, here's a competing product, or here's a competing technology, and then a list of attributes over here. Faster, less downtime, more throughput, any sort of attributes that you've already looked at for part of your value proposition, then you just have checks. Like, look at, you know, yours is going to be over here. It's mostly going to be green checks, and the other competition is red. Oh yeah, it sucks. High wind conditions for the window. Oh, that doesn't work. Ours works great. You know, portable, yeah, ours is great. You know, all these kind of things. So that's how you can kind of describe the competitive landscape. Sometimes put a red X on yours too, just to look human, or maybe with yellow. Like, and not frowny, that's down, but just a flat. You know, just a yellow sort of, what do you call it? Not a frown, not a smile, it's
a med face. It's called a med face.
A med face?
No, med.
Oh, a meh face. Put a meh face. Make it yellow. Mix it up.
Is that an engineering term?
You might have had some of those. No, you had other things on your.
I have cows and flowers.
You had fucking cows and flowers. That's fine too. Mix it up, man. All right, side 11 is investment and use of funds. So this is where you're going to practice of pitching for a investment. Very important to ask for the right amount of money. So for all these pitches, you're not going to go in and ask for $1 million. That's not going to, like, again, you're not ready to pitch for money yet, but your first round of money is probably going to be about $200,000, maybe $100,000, something around that range. And you're going to get something realistic, like a grocery list of things that you're going to buy. For this $150,000, I will rent a lab space, hire a technician. I will get this key piece of equipment that I need. I will file my intellectual property as a real patent application. And this money will last me 18 months. It's got to last you at least 12 months. If you say, this money will last me 3 months, they'll be like, I am not giving you the money, because it's going to last you 3 months, and you're going to have to go raise more. Even a year is like, okay, in 1 year, you're going to be back here again asking me for money. If it lasts over a year, better. So find out what amount of money you can get to a higher value point with a customer or an investor would want to see. You get to a compelling prototype. that, you know, is validated by a customer that we designed it for. You can do that for $200,000, but you can do that in 18 months. You're like, okay, wow, then that's the start of a product that goes to a customer. That type of logic. Everybody's going to have something different. Yeah, with the heart thing, that's tough. Because what can you get to? Can you get to anything like around $250,000? So use your imagination and say, for $250,000, I could get to the place where I filed 4 patents, and I've gotten a small advisory board together of cardio surgeons that have validated that this is the right way to go. And I got an FDA guy on my board. I don't know. I'm throwing stuff at the wall. But you're probably not going to get to the point where you're on the cusp of launching a product. You know, not with a small amount of seed funding. So see if you can get to somewhere. Okay? Final pitch day, October 27th, in the J building. We might make the start time, I think it's not going to be 4. I think we'll make it at least 5 for the pitch day so that people can get there. We'll invite some outsiders, hopefully some people that can help you guys as well, to hear your pitches, maybe offer up some help. We'll send around an email notice on that. Anyway, that is all I have, ladies and gentlemen. Any follow-up questions? Anything, any burning issues that you want to talk about? All right, you can always call me, email me, send around a name-based phone call. Keep up the good work. Constant drumbeat. Yes. Oh, yeah. There you go, man.
You know, yeah. So